Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Uh, what's going on?
Just this stuff. Not much going on in the world, really. Actually, less than last time.
Yeah, but that was a lot.
you know.
Well, so not much, huh? Well, I guess we ain't got to do it.
Yeah, it's been good. We'll call it.
Do you have any ad reads for the nothing?
Oh, I don't have an ad read right now.
No ad
I should.
reads.
Yeah, I need
Yo,
to start getting
Joe.
on those. I need to start getting our I need to start getting our name out there again so we can start getting some more sweet dough.
Yeah.
YouTube thinks this last week, it thinks that there's nothing more that I want to hear than from like channels that are smaller than ours that I'm not subscribed to. From the Young Turks, from a bunch of anarchists. I mean, sorry, not monarchists, as well as the last group of people. Shit.
Risto, you talking about the aristocratic utensil?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of him.
Um,
But I'm getting a lot of those monarchists. They're springing up out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere. They've been around. It's just
my YouTube's the same, although sometimes stuff gets messed up by a perfectly normal rabbit hole. I went down and I'm sure I've done this rabbit hole 3 times in my life, but I went down an Everest and K2 deaths rabbit hole, and it all started with one video, and I probably would have been good with the one video, but then of course 9,000 algorithms. Next thing you know, I'm watching bear deaths, I'm watching hiking deaths, I'm watching cave deaths, and all this stuff, and that's a rabbit hole that used to happen all the time, and they don't happen as much anymore. Like lately, it's all political rabbit holes, and
YouTube seems to think I want nothing more than to hear everything about Mr. Beast.
oh yeah, well that's been pumping in.
Mr. Beast is suing people now. It's bad. Brione. I don't know who Brione is. I've never heard of that channel. So there's one. Oh, another Mr. Beast. Internet anarchist. Another person I'm not subscribed to.
Moist critical.
Yeah, I've been getting a couple moist critical videos. I looked into a little bit of that. That was kind of funny. Like
Was it Penguin ZO or Moist Critical?
It's the same thing.
Yeah. He was some sort of like astroturfed YouTube guy. He's got like long hair, and he kind of got astroturfed up being a kind of a gamer gator, like a little bit. Like he was a little bit on the level of not being down with like all the games being wokified or something, if I remember right.
I think so.
But then he went on some debate channel. I think they were talking about Mr. B stuff, and then he talked about trans and the kids is okay doke. And
yeah, well, it was Sneeko. He was debating Sneeko, who is like a monster. And they were debating the age of consent.
But he gets away with being a monster because he claims Islam. So
I know he does. He claims it, and he kind of owns all of his monster stuff. But it like I think probably what happened is he's not really much of a debater, and I think he probably just thought age of consent is a layup of a debate, and but Sneeko's thought a lot about the age of consent apparently, and so then it was funny because he got him bad. He was like, "All right, you think that children like you can't get married when you're 15 years old if the whole family agrees on it or whatever, but but do you think that like a kid can go through a full transition?" He's like, "Yeah, as long as everyone consents." So it's a difficult thing to get around.
Yeah,
because you got to then try to explain why that's different. Like why it's actually okay to sterilize a kid, let them make the decision to sterilize themselves, but not let them make the decision to get married. both of which I think, and they always go with the age of consent. People always go with the whole arbitrary thing, and I was like, well, it's not entirely arbitrary, but yeah, there has to be an arbitrary line somewhere. So, yep,
Yeah,
18 is pretty good.
Charles says my algorithm is van life and hot athlete chicks for some reason. Hey, where do I get that one? I've had that happen before. I've had it like I clicked on like one kind of like a hot YouTube short of like one of those decathlon. Did you ever see that? It got really big. It was like some college girl who was like bouncing and dancing around and like mugging for the camera, and she was really cute. And then all of a sudden the whole world's watching her athletics. And then I clicked on it like once or twice, and next thing you know, I got like 1,001 kind of track and field hot chicks. And
yeah, well, a couple of years ago, it was, remember, we kept getting hot girls kind of playing guitar.
Yeah, that's already that. It's kind of weird how they vanish as fast as they come, because that one disappeared from me naturally. Like
I know. I kept clicking on him because I always wanted to see, oh, is she good? And we used to watch him every week on here. Is she good? No. Her tits are out too much. Then you find one that's like holding a nylon string classical guitar and wearing a turtleneck, and you're like, she's probably great. And sure enough, she tears it up.
Well, there's this piano playing Asian one. I forget her name. I would tell you guys if I remembered. I swear I would. But she shreds on the piano and gets basically naked, and I think has like an OnlyFans doing that. And she shreds. She's really good, but doesn't show her face. So. But I've not gotten on the OnlyFans. Maybe the OnlyFans is just as closed as the YouTube.
It's just a face reveal.
Yeah, that's all it is. The Mr. Beast stuff is wild. Remember, Mr. Beast teamed up with the Mormon Church for those what are those like vending machines, those charity vending machines. And now Mr. Beast is going through. This is why that Alyssa girl was saying that they never like to team up with influencers, because stuff always goes wild with the influencers, man. And Mr. Beast has the person who trans themselves on their channel was getting inappropriate with underage kids.
Well, and it's weird because at first it was all about Chris, and now everybody's focused on Mr. Beast, which is weird. Like, I mean,
did he really say or do anything, or they're just focused on that he didn't do anything about it?
No, he didn't say or do anything. They wanted to say that he knew what was going on, because I guess the Discord server that it was happening in, he was a member of, but like you can see he hadn't logged in there for years. Like, so he really, I don't know if he knew. I haven't watched enough to, it's hard for me to care, but mostly what they're going after now is that his stuff is fake. They're trying to say that a lot of his stuff is fake. Like, oh, they're accusing him. I did
watch a video on that.
Yeah, they're accusing him of doing illegal lotteries. And I was like, I really could give a fuck about it. Lotteries shouldn't be illegal, so fuck off. I don't care if he's doing illegal lotteries. I care if he's being a piece of shit. And
no, that stuff's being a piece of shit, like illegally, in the sense of there was an old movie with Ray Fiennes called Quiz Show that got into the details about like the cheating of the of game shows, and under the FEC, game shows are highly regulated. The same thing sort of happened like with McDonald's when they would do their stupid golden ticket prizes or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
What did McDonald's do? They actually did something like you search for like the different words, bingo or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember. No, it sounds like he gamed a bunch of his things. Like
both of them got
that one guy that kept winning, but it was clearly a setup that he was going to win. It's funny that they kind of shoot themselves in the foot, because they then start getting mad at him for really dumb things. Like, I watched an interview with the guy that came out with that video that's got like 8 million views now, and he's saying like, oh, and what that thing where he said that he cured 10,000 people's blindness. He didn't cure their blindness. He just paid for their cataract surgeries. Like,
that's what that was.
Oh, okay. I see, because I was thinking that Jesus style, he just spit on their eyes and rubs. You fucking idiot. I tell me the dumb shit he did, because he did do some shady dumb shit. But
so some of the things that happen with those game shows is like he would do something like have a boy versus girl Rubik's Cube contest, and then a little ways into the contest, he'd realized one particular boy was especially good at the Rubik's Cube contest, and it was throwing the whole thing off. And so in the middle of the contest, he'd offer $10,000 or more than the entire pool for that one kid to leave the team. And so then the kid would take it, and then that would alter the endings of games. Well, there's rules against doing crap like that to like alter endings for entertainment. Like I actually think, it would be more fun or freer to do it that you could just kind of sit there and throw money out or throw curveballs or do all that sorts of stuff willy-nilly as you want, even though don't go pretending like it's real competition then if you're kind of constantly faking out the outcomes or doing things to alter the outcomes, but maybe you're altering the outcomes for entertainment. But that stuff is illegal. It's illegal under like quiz show laws. You can't do that type of crap. You have to know what and how you're competing and what the rules are before you're competing. And on YouTube, he just kind of willy-nilly throws out whatever rule and whatnot. And they're saying, well, how come those laws don't? I mean, it goes for stuff that's broadcast on national television. Does this also go for YouTube content? Yeah. And the same, Risa says monopoly, the monopoly of McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, because that was one, yeah. No, it's funny because like I haven't it's weird to me because like Mr. Beast was the biggest YouTuber for 10 years before I'd ever heard of him.
Yeah, I know.
Like, and I'm still looking.
Oh, I guarantee there's other gigantic ones we have no ideas about, but that's because we don't really watch the main page or something like that. But
it's more aimed for kids.
And
it is wild shit. It's always like, I put 16 people in a Super Bowl arena, and I don't know, I told them to survive for a week. Can they do it?
Well, I watched two of them entirely. One was he buried himself for a week, and then the other was he had two people just right there on the spot say, can you live 100 days together just in this one room? And the room had all the amenities. What's that?
I'm just thinking this over, like the Super Bowl thing, because it's funny because like there's a video game I'm playing. I turned it on just now, and it's called Zomboid, and this is a Project Zomboid, and this is a question that comes up: is like, can you live in this place? But like living for a week in a Super Bowl arena, like, okay, so assuming it's like stocked, like it's a game week, there's going to be food in the fridges. Like assuming you have keys to things, right? There's definitely beds. There's going to be an infirmary. There's going to be like massage rooms or things. There'll be beds there. Food will be easy because the commissary will be stocked. Like fucking beer, hello. Like that'll be the easiest thing in the world. Give me a week in the Super Bowl, Mr. Beast.
Yeah, well one of them was in a department store, like a grocery store, and I was like,
oh yeah, and I daydreamed about that when I was a kid.
I know, me too. I used to think about that constantly. Like, if I could just hide here and I'd have this place all night.
Yeah. The problem. Some of the people did claim in some of the different things. So a lot of them, it's like on the spot. These two people just met. 1, 2, 3. Hey, can you stay here for 100 days? Yes or no? And then they say yes or no, and then they didn't like try to consider any sort of thing like what if a person has allergies, what if a person has some sort of thing like this or that. Like there was hardly any vetting, and so then they claimed that they couldn't eat like a bunch of the food or some of the stuff they gave them. There's all sorts of people complaining and griping about that stuff. But then he would also do stuff like at 70 days he'd say, so you're getting $100,000 if you make this all the way through, but I'll let you sell $500,000 of it right now for this Chinese dinner, just for like one dinner, and like all super hungry. So he's just kind of constantly tempting them for stuff like that. And certain things like that it might not be legal under those stupid quiz show laws, but we wouldn't need those quiz show laws if that Ray Fi guys didn't cheat the system, man. But
yeah, he also built a bunch of wells in Africa and cured a bunch of blind people, which is pretty nice. I mean,
yeah, I don't really care if he does that sort of.
I don't know. It does sound like there's some legitimate kind of like shady stuff where he favored his friends or whatever.
Yeah, he favored friends, or he said, "I'm going to go give out $1 million. The first person buys a T-shirt," and he does, but he pays the $1 million to somebody who was like tangentially related to him or something like that, and then it made all these people buy the T-shirt, and he got more than $1 million for it or something. And, maybe $1 million is high. I mean, like $20,000 or something like that, and he'd do that sort of thing all the time. And that stuff's, illegal too, supposedly. But I don't know. Do we want those kinds of laws? I don't know if I want those kinds of laws. Screw those laws, man.
Laws are dumb.
That's why you shouldn't pay money to people like that for buy my t-shirt when you get $1 million. But rules. I have a song that might be pretty good for our intro. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Here, why are you guys giggling like it's not going to be the awesomest song ever? Corey Feldman solo. Yeah.
What?
Is he joking?
No.
Is he ever?
He's played the same solo multiple times at multiple shows.
Can he play the guitar at all?
No.
Dude, I didn't realize until just now, but I can fucking shred. Look at that drummer back there. He's like, Jesus Christ. This is like
This is a paycheck.
Steven
This is a
Seagal
paycheck.
level.
This is a paycheck. This is a paycheck. $1, $2, $3, $4,000 in the bank.
Thank you very much.
What the shit?
So that's what does he do in the band when he's not doing that?
He sings and he
I'm
dances.
sure he sings. They
He
always
still does his like Michael Jackson stuff. You haven't watched any of his
But is that
current
all the
stuff?
guitar playing he does?
Yeah, that's it. He just does a solo every
Is
And he
that
does-
all?
He does
just
roughly that
gave
solo every time?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
This is his big
Wow.
song that's going like major viral, man. The Comeback King. Oh, come on. What is this? Let me see. Do you see that? You hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Jesus.
You think I have to pause for the banana on this one? I mean, is he gonna get me?
Get you down on the floor, they're gonna keep it. Just kick you some more and treat you like spit. When you reach for the door,
I love that like half-hearted kick.
This is shit. This is like a '90s like dare don't do drugs type rap.
Okay, like,
Drugs are really
Art-
dumb. If you smoke drugs, you won't be a cool cat.
like in 25 years, when our generation is in a retirement home, this will be our talent shows. Like that's what that will look like. But that's Corey Feldman for real right now.
Jesus, that's sad.
He got what's his name, Jerry Connell, back up on the stage to sing "Stand by Me" with him. Jerry O'Connell. What's his? Here it is. Watch this.
Stand by me.
No, it's not the beginning of it. You have to sing. So one night lifting weights in Trolley Square, I went into Trolley Square and it was just like me and Jerry O'Connell. It's like, what? Why is this guy here?
You run into celebrities so often.
I know, it's so weird. And it was just us two in the gym the whole night. And I didn't even see him lift very much. He was just on the cell phone the whole time. But
And then he's like, Are you Chris Hanna?
yeah.
Bro, I'm one of your 6 common subscribers.
Are you Chris Hanna from Porch Time?
And the star and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as
But you
long
should
as you
probably
stand by
be
me.
afraid.
And darling, stand by me.
Jerry O'Connell's a good friend.
When people go to watch that,
Oh, it's
what?
ironic. He's getting huge. He's getting ironic huge.
Yeah, it's like a Tommy Wiseau type shit.
For real. Like people are going and no, it's not sincere. Like, yeah. Yeah, Corey Cole says Corey was a big old Michael Jackson fan. Yeah. he patted himself out. He still does it all the time now. Totally.
He was a big like Michael Jackson defender and stuff. You know.
Well, isn't he also the guy saying that Hollywood is full of pedos?
Yeah, he says that a lot. And
But he's also
he said
Jackson
Charlie
apologist.
Sheen. He said
Huh.
Charlie Sheen did naughty stuff to him too.
Oh,
on the
really?
set of Lucas. Yeah, he
Huh.
did say that.
Risto said he'd rather go to that concert than Swift. I would too, but that's not even a knock on Swift. I would rather go to that concert than just about any.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
I would rather.
I'd
I
like
would
to
rather
go to-
watch. I would rather watch Simpsons reruns than either of those two things. So,
Yeah.
He's getting bigger than that, but guess where he came and played just a little while ago?
he was
I
here.
think he-
Yeah,
He played Liquid Joe's or something like that.
yeah.
Jeez,
And
that's
I've seen
awesome.
some big acts at Liquid Joe's. Well, at least I guess they're big to me. But like I saw
Yeah.
new pornographers there.
I remember like a while back. I mean, they're usually kind of a little bit washed up big acts, but
Yeah.
who was it? Like Silverchair went there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, when you're notable for being the rock band that's made of 15-year-olds, like when you're that same rock band but you're 25, and it was like, hey, any 15-year-old could do this.
I wonder if your brain's like short circuiting that time because they've got to be like 45, 50 now.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's kind of like being a child star all grown up. But anyway, speaking of performances, what did you all think of the Olympics performances?
I only have seen
That
the
was
stills
funny.
and the fight. I haven't seen the actual performances.
You didn't see the Olympics intro?
Like, I haven't watched the actual video. I've just seen clips. Not even clips really, but the stills, and like I know about the Last Supper thing, and like
That was
just the body
Dionysus, asshole.
Oh, that's right. The drag queen said this is about Jesus and the Last Supper.
We got
That's
fat
code.
drag Jesus.
That's drag dog whistle for we actually mean Dionysus.
Yeah. So
It was more just like I was telling my friend this at work because he was asking, "Oh, what's your opinion on that?" And I was like, honestly, I don't care. Obviously, I don't find it offensive, but like to be shocked that people found it offensive, that was the fucking goal. There's no possible way that you did this without it'd be like Sinead O'Connor like tearing apart the Pope picture and then being like, I can't believe people got mad at that. That's so crazy to me. Why did you get mad at that? It actually wasn't even the Pope, by the way. It was that one guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. It looks kind of like the Pope.
It really is the most pathetic playground gaslighting that they do that, because like, no, the point is to be offended. And when the people come, like, they don't even say, "Oh my God, I'm so offended! How dare you? You should be stopped." They just go, "Well, look, there's another one," and then they do the double gaslight of like, "Oh my God, you're outraged!" Like, just it's fucking pathetic.
Well, it was also I
try to
just told
offend
him
them.
I was more like insulted artistically, really, because it's
Well, yeah.
I get so tired of like things that are intentionally ugly, you know, like it's
Yeah.
full of fat people. Like I'm not even fat enough to be on that stage. Like they'd be like, "Oh, you need to put on a couple pounds," and I'm fat.
Yeah, totally.
I'm gonna give
like, leave that.
Like, why do you think it's artistic to be unsightly on purpose? It's like hipsters when they have like a saxophone player in their band that doesn't actually play, and he just kind of like squeaks out atonal bullshit.
I'm gonna give
I
a
just
little bit
feel
of a counter take, not just a teeny tiny one. I kind of like the song. You know, the song that the Blue Dionysus is singing.
Yeah, it was kind of silly.
I haven't read it.
The song,
Never
dumb, read it in English, but it's got like this bass line that comes in on it and stuff, and it's kind of got, you know, an interesting sound to it. But
why don't they just give this? If you're gonna do this, then give it to John Waters, because then it'll at least be interesting. You know.
Well,
but,
this is one of my points about the whole entire thing. Just like you said, it was so obviously designed. It was designed by a queer artist. What do queer artists do? They blur categories. The simple fact that it's actually long been blurred, the line between Dionysus and Jesus Christ. There's paintings that the painting that people tried to refer to, saying it was referring to this painting of Dionysus and this celebration. That painting was already a caricature, a reference to the Last Supper, that very same one, a long time ago. And what does a queer theorist do but blend categories and blur stuff for the purpose of outrage or conversation or dismantling or discomfort or that sort of thing? And the defense that people are giving to it, like the defense that Dan McClellan gives to it, would be insulting to a queer artist. Like, if you're trying to tell me that queer artist is the only person who didn't see that imagery kind of mimicked the same other imagery, but then slipped into the Dionysus thing, you're telling me that queer artist, his eye just didn't see that, and he meant the unidimensional concept. I heard tainting and not painting. But there was a lot of tainting in that one. I'll give you that one. That one had straight tainting going on in it.
That's a blue crusty taint.
Some blue crusty taint. But the thing is like the defense is an insult to the queer artist. Like, the guy obviously wanted to create this discussion, this conversation. He obviously wanted to blend and blur the lines and make people think like, oh my gosh, what is the difference? Is that the Last Supper?
Jesus Dionysus? A big fat man in a dress.
Why is Jesus blue? Oh my gosh, what this sort of stuff? Yeah, and it's just so. It's so obviously what a queer artist would intentionally do, or they're bad at their job. They're dumb. They're a single-dimensional, unidimensional idiot.
I did watch an interview with him where some CNN lady was interviewing him, asking him like about the whole drama, and he's like, "Well, I was raised, Christian, and obviously we didn't intend to offend any Christians." I was like, "Dude, come on, like just." It's not a big deal if you did. Like, imagine if Matt Stone and Trey Parker were like, "Oh my God, that offended you guys when we portrayed Jesus taking a shit on the American flag and Drew Muhammad." We had no idea that would offend you.
South Park. Yeah. I mean, I don't take offense to it. The only thing I take offense to is the gaslighting about it. That's the only thing I ever take offense to about it. But I don't know. Maybe gaslighting was part of the artistic project. The only thing that I want to know is, like, years down the line when the guy comes out and says this was obviously the intention, the conversation we wanted to create, and then we go back and say the obvious because we want the Olympics to go on without it, it's all PR stuff or whatever. But in the future they say, yes, we definitely intended to create that discussion. What does Dan McClellan then say? Like, oops, I misinterpreted the art.
You'd say, oh, people are blithely saying that I actually ever claimed that.
Well, he'll come up with some bullshit about how you have to renegotiate the text in favor of marginalized folks, and that was what he was doing because you were trying to go after marginalized folks, and he's a defender of them, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, Risto's right. What does the data say? It's whatever the data said at the time. Well, the data at the time that we had available to us. That's a good thing about science, is that it changes when new information comes. Yeah. So new data came and I changed.
You need to make that plural. What does the data says?
The datums.
What does the datum says?
Yeah. What do them datas says?
Colt says at least he'll show you a comic book t-shirt. I mean, I suppose so.
If only he would have got on the scene earlier, then Marvel would have become cringe way earlier.
Let's see here. So, I mean, look at the post by Seth, our buddy Seth, because it kind of became a thing. Buddy Seth from Transcendental Philosophy.
I cannot figure that guy out.
So if this has you more outraged than this, we need to talk about Jesus. And then
I just wonder if he's ever accused somebody else of whataboutism.
Well, you brought up a whataboutism?
Well, no, a lot of people did, but I did too, because like this is like, if anything is a whataboutism, this is a whataboutism. But it's also like because the other thing, like, he tells me that I'm an imbecile and that I just don't understand the methodology, methodology of that meme. But like, to me, the whole thing is predicated on the very common, stupid, lame straw man that conservative people are unconcerned about unjustified police killings and that they have no outrage for it. Like, it's predicated on two misunderstandings. One, that people are way more outraged about the stupid Olympic thing than they are. And like I contend that there's far less outrage and a lot more, like I said, like, look, there they go again, you know. But also that like the idea that like the average conservative doesn't watch that video of that woman getting shot and they don't go, that's terrible. Police shouldn't do that, you know.
Well, and also you're kind of picking two things that are different. Like they're like different in their exposure, right? This is the fucking Olympics, man. Everyone, it's a world stage thing. So, and it was meant to be outrageous, and it was meant to trigger this response. Like this, obviously, this Sonya
like the
thing
cop wasn't trying to piss everyone off. The queers were.
Well, so you had a situation where he brought up saying like, "Show me somebody who did it," and you showed him somebody.
It was in that exact thread. It was in the exact thread. Like the first comment was like, "I don't understand." Like a lady says, "Like, what's the second image?" And somebody says, you know, like link or something, and she comments like, "I just watched that video. This is outrageous. I'm seeing a lot of talk about it and a lot of outrage." And I replied to someone or someone else about like just what I said now about like there's this common lame straw man on the left that conservatives don't care about unjustified police killings. Says, "Show me the outrage." I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this your first day on Earth? But also this thread is it. You dingbat? And then he said I'm an imbecile and I don't understand anything and all the usual things he says. When
part of the issues is that they equate all cop killings, right? So like if you were to say like the Thomas or the Michael Brown shooting was justified, it was unfortunate, but it was justified. They don't think you're saying that it was justified. They're thinking that you're saying it's okay that cop unjustifiably killed that guy. That one's the same thing as this one. And
there's
not.
One thing, they actually play two games there because the other way is like if you say, you know, like I think it was justified. Then they're saying what you're saying is then you think that he deserved to die. That's what you're saying. You know, that's the other one they pull on you. Yeah, like deserved. Like no, that's not how that works.
I don't want you to die, but when you try to kill somebody, if you end up dying while trying to kill somebody, it's
the other thing is like
tragic, but it's not shocking. It's
with this like this shooting, like because to me like there's a defense. Like it's hard to say like this guy didn't just go in flying all willy-nilly. Like you know, like it sure looks bad. I think it is mostly bad. But there is a defense there, you know, and everybody's just acting like, oh, this is a cut and dry. Like, no, you know, and that's like, you remember a few years back where there was the cop that shot the unarmed black man as he was running away, and it was caught on bystander film. And as soon as that film got to the police, they arrested him, and that guy is in prison for murder now. Like that was unambiguous. Like it was so cut and dried. Like, no, you shot a man in the back. He had no weapon. You know, like there was no reason to do that. That was a murder, right? This one, there's that fuzziness there. Like she's a nut. She had a pot of boiling water. They told her to put it down. He said, "I will shoot you. Put it down." You know, like, lady, put it down, please. But anyway, we can't not to get on to that for too long.
Well, he said this is a. He said it didn't exist, but this is Martyr Made. Martyr Made. He does a bunch of podcasts. Actually, a bunch of his podcasts are on a little bit. On.
He won't cop to saying it doesn't exist. Like he won't take that side. Like that's how intellectually dishonest he is. Like if you make the obvious assumption that is presumed in the meme, he says you're an idiot and you don't get it. So when you say, okay, then what is it? Fucking silence. Or you're an idiot, you don't understand it. So just to be clear, he hasn't taken that side, but we're presuming that.
Okay. Well, I just say Martyr Made is the co-host of Jocko Willink's podcast. And there he is saying he's outraged by the Olympics and wants to crucify the cops who shot the person.
That's one of the, like, just when people like who have to ask that question, like I have to wonder, how closed off are you to the conservative world? Like, seriously, because that's not hard to find.
Yeah. Anyway, so that whole stuff, like all the way back to the Olympics, I don't know, the outrage for it. I mean, it's like a Rorschach test, you know, a little bit, if people were going to get upset at it or not. But that's something Brett Weinstein went into a little bit, but it was purposely designed as a Rorschach test. I mean, there's all sorts of different things in this world that are designed purposely as Rorschach tests. Yeah. That's one of the concepts of the old Pepe meme. Speaking of Dan McClellan and his shirts, let me show you this. Risto made a picture of Dan McClellan. Here it is. Sharing his what are those?
You're
not seeing it.
We're not seeing it.
No. Oh, the one with like Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn.
So he's showing that one, but down below in there, I made one of him showing the Pepe Trump meme.
The fit today.
Today's fit. But one of the concepts of that Pepe meme that floated around that the left didn't get so hard is they would make a Pepe, and they'd make a Pepe of Trump, and they'd make a Pepe of Hillary. And the Pepe of Trump must certainly have been identifying with the Trump. And the Pepe of Hillary must certainly have been scouring the Hillary. And it was a Rorschach test. They were messing with people like, is this thing an insult, or is it a positive he's on our side type thing? And it was just 100% in the perception of the viewer of it, you know, and they mess with that dynamic entirely. But
the other thing with this Olympic openings thing is that it is a prime example of when James Lindsay, the mid-level violence, you know, they hit it right in that spot where, like, if you say nothing, then they're just going to queer up your Olympics and insult all of Christianity, and that'll just be that. But if you say something, oh my God, why are you overreacting? Why don't you care more about police shootings? Why are you so stupid? Why did you even think this was Jesus? How dumb are you? Like, right? It's a perfect example of that mid-level violence thing where, like, they trap you into either reacting or not reacting, and either way, they're going to make you the asshole.
Yeah, it's like the kid in the back of the car seat who's holding his finger just right 1 inch away from your nose, saying, "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you." And then if you touch him, now you're the one who's in trouble.
Why do you care if Olympics is queer? Why do you care if I put my balls on TV? Why do you care if I put my balls in your son's mouth? Why do you care?
This is one of the reasons I theorized, and it was a bad theory, but it's still just my theory anyway. I'm going to spout it out. That one of the reasons we don't take much shit is because we're middle children. And we've been on both sides of seeing the oldest child get all the deference and the youngest child get all the deference. And we're the ones just in the middle saying, stop messing with your brothers and sisters. You know?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the oldest, and I got blamed for absolutely everything.
That's why I'm saying it doesn't hold water with you. But yeah, in most cases, it's like I got told, like, leave your older brother alone, leave your younger brother alone, and I was just the one sitting there like, what am I doing, man?
I did well with me. It was because my mom was a youngest child, and her brothers were massive assholes to her growing up. So she just she has that underdog syndrome, like. Bad.
So you're saying I would be like the underdog or the mid dog bully to my oldest kid if
it's
I ever had
whoever is with her, it's whoever is the younger kid in the exchange gets the benefit of the doubt. So it was like and I'd be downstairs or something, and my brother would call my sister a douchebag upstairs, and I'd hear my mom, Jared Higdon, and what? And she's like, he just called his sister a D-bag. Okay, we'll punish him. She's like, well, where did he learn it from? Mom, he rides a fucking school bus. What are you talking about? You're lucky he didn't say the F word.
Yeah. So we're waiting for Seer Stoner. Seer Stoner is going to come on, and he's going to take us to task about James Lindsay.
I don't know if today is the day that he's going to make me eat my words.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
So he should be coming on anytime soon. He said like around 8:30. But in the meantime, I don't know. I guess we could look at this weird stuff. The weird.
Weird.
I'm trying to.
Weird.
Have you guys
Yeah,
seen
wouldn't it
any
be
like
weird if we elected weirdos? That would be weird.
Have you seen like the highlights of this becoming like the word to use?
Yes, it's wild. It's insane. I mean, for years we've been watching those awesome supercuts of like every different NPC style media conglomerate just saying like word for word the same shit. Threat to our democracy, all that shit. But it never stops making me laugh every time I see it.
Yeah, listen.
Nobody even says odd.
It?
Nobody says odd. Nobody says strange.
I don't know if I've seen this clip.
Abnormal.
Well, it's all the clips, really. But here we go. Is it on the screen? Am I doing it right?
Yeah.
What he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
It's weird.
As weird and creepy as JD Vance. Super weird idea from JD Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate are weird. Deeply and profoundly weird.
They are weird.
These Republicans just being weird. It's just weird. It's really weird.
Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
He said a lot of things that are weird, a weird style that he brings, weird policies. Let's start with the weird thing, because it is a thing.
Just plain weird.
What was weird was talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
You ever seen the guy laugh? That seems very weird.
Appalachian kids, that's a whole thing.
Go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone. That is weird behavior.
What'd you say?
He said, "Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?" And I was like, "Appalachian white trash kids." Like, it's the whole thing. It's called Dew Teeth. They drink it more than water. What are you talking about?
They really are on another planet. They really are.
I think that was made fun of in Idiocracy forever ago. What's his name? Sinatra told us from the very beginning they finally watched Idiocracy due to our recommendation. But I think they talk about drinking Mountain Dew instead of water and other things because it has electrolytes in Idiocracy. But yeah, they were already on the Dew thing.
Weird and cultish.
These are weird people on the other side.
He kind of doubled down on his weird ideas.
I think weird is probably generous.
Simply weird. These guys are just plain weird.
Vance as weird.
You know, as the campaign said, weird.
It really is just plain weird.
JD Vance, plain weird.
I mean, I don't know how else you could read it.
Weird. It is kind of weird.
We're not afraid of weird people.
The other side, they're just weird.
Why are you being so weird? Vance has done something more extreme, more weird.
No matter what kind of weird stuff they keep saying.
Trump and Vance are just weird. In addition to being dangerous to democracy.
That's the weird part that's the most engaging.
Whom he addressed as my beautiful Christians, which was super weird.
Weird tech bro, JD Vance.
He's a weird guy. JD Vance, uneasy and sort of weird.
Frankly, for lack of a better word, that he's weird.
Sarcastic remarks that aren't even funny, and he kind of shows that he can't really deliver a one-liner.
So, Sam, weird is the word here in terms of initial impressions.
You just straight out say it all the time. Like, so remember, we got to say weird a bunch.
We had a meeting. We walked into the planning morning. The whiteboard just said "weird" in a giant letter.
Say weird a bunch.
So I saw somebody say it's like a mean girl attack, and mean girl attacks don't work unless you're attractive.
You know what's funny? I keep hearing people say that, oh, the facts don't care about your feelings. People, fuck your feelings. People are getting real triggered over being called weird. And I was like, I don't think they're being triggered. I think they're bewildered right now. Yeah. Because like you guys, just a couple of years ago, we had this big thing. I work at a DOE site, and like we had that Sam Brinton guy come to our site. It was this big deal. And we're supposed to take seriously this like bald weirdo in a dress with his nails painted, looking like a dork who like walks humans dressed as dogs in his spare time and steals luggage. He's coming like, and he's probably one of the ones that if he were in, he's probably looking at the computer right now and like, oh yeah, JD Vance is weird. Like if you had to pull I don't know, you had to pull like a string of anal beads out of your mouth to say that guy's weird, then I don't know. Maybe you're not making the point you think you are.
Yeah, I took a "Are you weird or not" survey on Babylon Bee, and I ended up weird, but I don't see it here again. I mean, maybe I have to be like joined in to do it. But look at this. Amin Khalifi wins first ever gold medal in freestyle domestic violence. Trump counters your weird criticism with devastating response. I know you are, but what am I?
Brilliant.
Yeah, there was some special thing, but I don't see it here anymore. Oh, here it is. Weird or not quiz. So we take the weird or not quiz. Is it showing on screen?
Yeah.
Are we weird or not? Seer Stoner says he's coming in any moment, so we can find out if we're weird. I will give you guys this. JD Vance a bit weird, but he doesn't compete with your weirdness. But it is all weird. I agree, it's all weird. We're living in weird. Nobody here doesn't think it's not all weird.
I think the weird part of JD Vance, I don't know much about him. I haven't listened to hardly anything, but he does gather all of his fat in his face first. I don't know why. That's a little weird.
And then somebody says it looks like he's always wearing eyeliner too.
Yeah, it kind of does.
I'll probably get into it more in the future, but
also we're racist, so we don't like the whole interracial marriage, right?
Yeah,
that sounds like us.
We're all racist here, right? We've agreed on that.
Oh yeah. Did you guys watch Trump? Did you guys watch Trump at the black whatever?
Yeah.
I
saw parts of it.
Oh yeah, he went to like, I don't even know what it was, but he got interviewed by some people, and it was a pretty funny shit show. But we got here coming in to the show, Seer Stoner.
You got a Resto comment over his face.
Yep, I got to take all the stuff down.
Stop
sharing. Oh, look at this. We got to
stop sharing.
Mountain Dew.
This is the non-racist version.
We only allow racists.
All Mountain Dew.
I know how it works.
You drink Mountain Dew? That's kind of weird. Oh,
yeah. You want to see weird? This is weird. I heard the word and I was summoned into existence with the word weird. If we're living in the multiverse, then I'm coming to you live, traveling in from my corner of the universe, and I need to make sure that I'm not too spicy with Flip, because I know that in one of these iterations we're actually really good friends. So welcome to myself. Oh wait, I forgot my jacket.
What's the names here? We got Don Coyote Smith de la Mormont.
I'm doing it, Chris.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's
Don
good
Coyote
stuff.
Smith.
And Jared's distinctionally challenged. I thought that had to do with the stuff of people saying that they're not able to see that somebody can be of two races. Is that what that was about?
No, that was I was asking. I haven't been involved with the James Lindsay arguments really, so I asked Flip. I was like, what did Seer Stoner say his beef was with James Lindsay? And he said his distinctions are not something. I don't know.
Scales his distinctions wrong. That thing is when I first came in.
I didn't know what that meant, so I called myself.
I was the poor distinction scaler. I called myself the poor distinction scaler, but then I saw that you pipped me to the joke, so I had to change mine.
So I actually thought that was talking about Trump's appearance at the thing, because he talked about Kamala not.
Oh yeah.
Indian, now she's black, and then people say, is he
all
not
this
able
time
to?
she's an Indian. Yeah.
Yeah, and then people are saying, I genuinely think Trump doesn't understand biraciality, and that.
Well, okay. So here's the thing.
He understands it. He just worded that stupidly.
Yeah, no, he's okay. He's being a jackass in that, like, she is probably identified as both all along to some degree. But the part where the left is lying and what Trump is really trying to get at, I think, is the fact that she has used her race and she picks and chooses, and like just that, like she has made her identity a thing. So like if that's the case, like because that's when they're like, well, what is a DEI hire? Okay, they said because she's a black woman. They said they needed a woman of color in there. That was
Biden also said that she is a DEI hire. There's a clip where he says she is a hire, at the top of the diversity, equity, and
Yeah, and
inclusion.
also like the whole point of DEI is that's what you do. So
I think
cop to it.
I think that
The
anybody
left shouldn't run away from E DEI.
I think that women
You should embrace
should
it more.
vote against her because that would just be
The
embarrassing.
label.
Like if that's your first female president, be like, oh no, we need someone reasonable.
Yeah, if it was good, if it was supposed to be good, say yeah, she was a D.
Okay, like this is the thing that's like so obnoxious is because like just this whole idea about like, oh, we don't have enough female leaders. The two people who've become closest, the people closest to being the first woman president are Hillary and Kamala. That's like really that's the best.
That's not like the guys that become president are much better, I guess. Not usually. Other than like,
No,
I
but
don't
the
know.
whole
If
idea
we're
is
talking
that
about
the-
like, if we're talking about
the
good
whole
people, I
argument-
guess you got Jimmy Carter. Like he seemed like a good
No,
person.
like the whole argument is like, oh, we need women because women are nice and not evil like men.
I think it's probably true though that if we took more than 85% of the country with the last 3 elections and asked them like, if we could snap a finger and just remove all the candidates on either side and just start fresh on both sides, would you snap the finger? And almost everybody on both sides will go, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not, nobody really actually wanted either of those choices in either side.
Yeah,
But
no, like I mean, this is the thing I keep like. I mean, I always bring it up because it's so nuts to me. Is this whole thing about like, okay, so you want to beat Donald Trump? Well, it shouldn't be hard to come up with a better person than Donald Trump. You can't do it, right? Like, really, you can't do better than a Donald Trump. And the fact is, like, no, they cannot. That is how intellectually and morally bankrupt the Democratic Party is. They can't do better than a Donald Trump.
maybe it's just how morally bankrupt anybody who gets that high in politics is. Maybe that's how we put up for it. But anyway, we got Seer Stoner here to talk about Culture Hall. Yes, I do know why he picked JD Vance. It's we talked about it a little bit in the
He's going after the weird vote. We know why. The NPR has told.
Yeah, Trump didn't have the weird vote.
it's because he's going after Silicon Valley vote.
There was 10% of incels. 10% of incels were undecided on Trump, and the weird is just that ropes them in. There you go.
Well, number one, he did want maybe some insurance. So like, if you get rid of me, you got another weirdo behind me.
Yeah,
or something. Yeah. But if
weird on weird,
there is there's a faction. I would recommend these guys called Base Camp. They actually recently covered Alyssa Grenfell and all that stuff. But they talked about the 3 factions on the right now, and one of those factions is the Silicon Valley right. And JD Vance, like immediately or pretty quickly afterwards, he just had like a speech with the Bitcoin people this past week. And JD Vance runs around with Curtis Yarvin and the PoMo Trads, and we were just talking about this it's on an inside group called the Longhouse, but we were talking about Curtis Yarvin, Nick Land, these different people called postmodern conservatism, and JD Vance runs around with them and signals with those types of people. And it's something for another day, but it might come up here in a discussion about James Lindsay, because we are here to have a referendum about James Lindsay, because James Lindsay also fights with those people and is freaked out about JD Vance more than he's freaked out about anybody, because he does not love those dissident right people. But
and that group it's not like a secret closed group, right?
It's like a private group. You got to search it.
Longhouse, you just got to like
The Longhouse, it's basically the group for this show, right?
Yeah.
Roughly? Yeah. Okay.
It's a great name.
So James Lindsay, where do we start? Where do we start on James Lindsay? Take it away. Take us away.
Okay. So, look, I was gonna there's a couple things you should know about me. I mean, I don't know. You've already done it, Chris. You could just put standard Exmo story into ChatGPT. That would be the same as me. But I have done a couple things. So like
what area of the world you're living in? Like not the exact, but
comedy capital of the world, Austin, Texas.
Oh, nice.
So I'm actually outside in Pflugerville. So yeah, I've been, I don't know. I think that Where should I start? I don't know. I mean, I was going to list my credentials. So like, you know, I was the BYU Dems president. I went to BYU twice, got both my degrees there.
You said
got
Dems president?
Democrats, yeah, BYU Democrats.
So did you run around with Kwaku?
No, I was way before him. Not way before. It was 2009,
Where'd you get your degrees in?
2010. Political science and MBA. So everybody that went into the managerial class that you guys hate on were like everybody from my class. So
yeah, I'm right square in the middle of what I hate. So.
Yeah, and I work in tech, so you know, I'm aware of what's going on, how the techkening is coming, the upcoming you know, damage that's been done. Well, not okay. That's a different one, but this one is more like the decades long brain damage that the internet has instilled into us. For it's we're if you you know, I mean, if you follow the people who are online since the beginning, like you can see their brains falling apart, and it's rough. Like we're not ready for this, and then some people are being really negatively affected by it. And so what I know to be true with basically, so my work is managing like data science projects and kind of understanding how the models work and how, you know, when, I mean, every model gets it wrong, but eventually through multiple iterations, it'll converge on, you know, something that can be used in production to, you know, make an accurate prediction. And I think that what people don't realize is that, like, I mean, people like to blame the algorithm a lot. Like they talk about the TikTok algorithm. It most of it just lives in your brain. Like we're doing the work to sort the data, and then once it finds out what our brain wants, then it starts feeding us content. So like, you know, Jared, you obviously are a Kingsman if they're feeding you monarchy content, or you're like susceptible to that type of content. So that's what it's feeding your brain because it wants your eyeball time. Like, I mean, there's this data science article that kind of like revolutionized. I mean, well, the thing is, every 6 months there's a new data science article that revolutionizes everything. But there's one that's called "Attention is All You Need," and basically what it says, like, you don't actually have to encode everything. You can just like find out what bubbles to the top, and then let the attention layers fight it out. And that's what's happening on the internet right now at a society level. But like, there's no model that's governing it. It's just our whatever's exploitable in our brain through, you know, that attention. I don't know, whatever it is that catches our attention is being exploited, and then we're fighting it. You know, we're like, we feel like we're being propelled to be in conflict with each other about it based on how, you know, whatever circumstance that we came from is reacting to it. And I'm not like getting into the free will, anything like that. I'm just saying, like, this is in aggregate, this is what's happening. Yeah, so like, if you have a boogeyman in your life, in your, like, any, I'll just call it the boogeyman. Like, there's some them out group, you know, and you start projecting everything onto that out group, they will like, eventually you start like attaching more evil to that out group until it becomes like existentially threatening to you, and then you have to like kill it, you know. And so like James Lindsay, when he, like, what I think that he's doing wrong is, number one, I mean, like, in the video that I shared, the clip that I shared was basically just like, you know, the way that the woke is doing this is they're like crafting these narratives, and they're letting people, like, you know, the hatchlings fall into the different forms that they're creating, and then once they have enough hatchlings, then they can like take over the world or whatever. And like, I guess he really believes that. And the other thing, okay, so that's the clip that I shared, and I said, like, that's what Mormons do, because Mormons like are raising these generations, and they literally believe it's true. They're not pretending. At least, you know, I mean, it's a LARP. Like they're LARPing it until it's real, you know. And that's, you know, here James Lindsay is accusing the woke of doing it. And I'm like, okay, fine, but that's also what every Christian religion and denomination, and I mean any religious organization, is doing. They're LARPing their reality through the lens of, you know, their you know, the religious tradition that they've been given. And so then I was like, all right, let me rewatch this video so that I can, like, you know, break it down and give specific examples. And like, seriously, like 2 seconds in, he's like, I mean, if I'll send you the link if you want to like play it, but like, that's probably better, right?
Which video is it?
I got the link. Hold on. Where did I put it?
So it's kind of like a, I don't know. He sees giants where there might not be. Is that what you're saying? Or
So, like, I mean, because that's the thing is, like, if I'm trying to suss out a criticism of Lindsay and all this, because there hasn't been one yet.
No.
If I catch your meaning, he overstates his case. Might be.
No, he has a boogeyman.
He has a boogeyman.
That's the first error. Boogeyman.
Okay.
So, and that's fine. You can have boogeyman. Like, I'm not, you know, I have, like, when you're driving in traffic and somebody cuts you off, they're like the bad guy for a second, you know. But like, he keeps piling it on to the same person over and over and over again. This is why I'm wearing a fucking blue wig, is because I'm like, I can't be the meme that you guys are projecting out there, because those memes, those people don't exist.
Yes,
the fake version of a leftist, and you might think that there is, and I'll explain to you why you think there is, because it's extremely believable that there is, and I have other examples that I can show you. That you're laughing, but like, this is, the models are going to sort them so that they look identical, but they're not. I want to stress that enough, that they're not. And what's different than like organized religion is that there's not there's not a top-down consolidated LARP that they're all LARPing. It's very fluid in terms of how it can organically. I mean, this is how the word, like, I mean, word is like a tiny nugget of how these things work, but like, the word will pop into existence, grab everybody's attention. It will look like that's all the left is talking about, but like, it's only the ones that
you think that word weird is an aberration.
No, like, they're using it, they're milking it because it's got meaning potential right now. Like, you can milk it for attention right now. So, and it's stinging, it's hitting the other side, it's working. So they're like, but like, it's happening organically way more than you think. Like, these.
You think it was genuine grassroots?
No, like, you can plant these things and they can grow organically, and like, they're seeds, and they either take off or they don't. Sure. And a lot of the seeds are planted. I'm not saying that they aren't. You know,
what you're saying tells me that you have barely listened to Lindsay, because Lindsay talks about this very thing.
I listen to him a lot.
He says this very thing about part of their tactics is they throw.
Oh, they have a boogeyman. That's the number one problem.
No. Hey. They write their tactics out. They talk about it.
Okay.
Hey,
this is where we get to number two.
Just real quick. Did the 20th century happen? Like, was the Soviet Union, like, was that real? Or do we need to, like,
century happen?
No, but I'm just saying, like, is Marxism a threat? Is there any valid reason to consider Marxism to be an actual threat?
It's no more threat than half the other ideologies out there. At scale,
do you not think that those are also
any ideology is a threat?
No, that's absurd. No, the 20th century has showed us that is that's bonkers.
No, listen, you're still missing. You're not even letting me talk. He has a boogeyman. Okay, his
boogeyman. Hey, real quick. I said nothing for 10, 15 minutes. Don't start the I'm not letting you talk thing. I barely spoke.
All right, we're still.
If you don't want to, this is why I like. You want to know why it took me so long to do this? Is because I had to number one. This will sort itself out whether I do anything or not. And number two, you don't, like, your engagement style online is the problem that I'm trying to address here. You have a
Yeah,
boogeyman.
fine.
I'm your fucking boogeyman.
No.
That's why I'm wearing this wig. That's why I'm putting on this fucking performance.
No. Okay, then I'm just gonna call bullshit.
So you gotta
right
hear
now.
me out.
No, I'm calling bullshit right now, and now I'll hear you out. But no, you're not my boogeyman. You're wrong right now. So we're not.
So it's some idea. That's not even real. Then you don't even have a real boogeyman.
What?
Who are you against?
What? I'm not going to fill in the blanks for you, man. You were going to make me eat my words. I'm
trying to find those people.
You said
they don't exist.
You said that James Lindsay gets Marxism wrong. I'm waiting for you to address that.
Okay.
So hang on, just like more specifically, like which people don't exist? You're saying like the typical leftist blue-haired caricature that you're presenting doesn't exist,
is queer theory real? Does queer theory exist?
Okay. All right. This is number 2.
No, it's a yes/no question. Does queer theory exist?
No,
yes or no?
We'll let him keep laying out the genuine case.
Let's go. Yeah, go.
Because Flip, like, it's disgusting that you like.
Disgusting.
Okay. No. Okay. You have to understand.
Yeah, you knew Flip would get salty.
We'll
let you get through it.
All of these problems. Okay. Actually, I got to introduce myself first. I'm actually retarded. The hashtag actual autism. Whatever, actually autistic, that's me too. But like, I'm actually retarded. I have there's like, I don't remember what Bill Reel's IQ score, but like, I don't care. But like my IQ score, they test you on all these different things, right? And 2 of my like memory processing and like, whatever, I know, two of the things that are related to how fast you can go are like 20 points lower than everything else, which brings down like they gave me 2 IQ scores because they're like, this is if you were normal and this is because you're retarded. So if you aren't going to let me speak, I'm going to leave.
This is a tard friendly place, but at the same time, you knew that Flip would be salty.
I know, but I thought by throwing down the whole thing, he'd realize like, oh, he's fucking LARPing. Okay, let me hear the LARP.
What? Who's LARPing?
Do you know what performance art is?
You apparently have got me all wrong. I'm not taking you seriously as a leftist.
I don't want you to take me seriously.
Well, then,
he said as a leftist.
I have a message that James Lindsay, the way he's constructing his boogeyman, will ultimately lead up to we have to kill the population. In that same fucking video, he's talking about mass arrests of people who are just doing their fucking job.
What job is that?
Just your DEI. Everyone, like every week, you guys are like listing all these things. That's who James Lindsay thinks are all going to go to jail. And I'm like, where are you coming up? Why would they go to jail? What law are they breaking?
Hold on.
So wait, which clip is this? Because you were saying. So you're saying that
in the video.
Will, this is my exact one. My major criticism of Lindsay is when he says these people belong in prison.
On this podcast.
I have said that exactly on this podcast. What law are you talking about and why? So that is like we're on the exact same page there. Okay. You said he gets Marxism wrong. Can we address that?
But every time I say number 2, you say no. Answer this question.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Just bullshit on the. I'm not letting you get to it. I'm begging you to get to it.
I am retarded, dude. You're thinking on a retard. This is not a tard-friendly place.
You have been promising it.
Okay, what's number 2? What's number 2?
Guys, we gotta amp up the tard-friendly.
In the first 2 seconds, he says that they all think it's pretend. They don't. They don't think it's pretend.
What's the video? We still don't know the video and the general subject of that video because James Lindsay's covered 10,000 videos.
Yeah.
All right.
You just remember the subject?
No, I remember.
It's not the Soros one, is it?
It's the quick one. Can I put it in there? Right there.
Oh, there it is.
2 seconds in, he makes his first mistake. 8 seconds in, he makes the third.
Oh,
second.
With quick?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I forgot he was on quick. Let's see.
So you're saying like the way that he frames the boogeyman, there's real world.
Well, he says like that they all think they think it's all pretend, and they don't.
Well, who thinks it's all pretend?
And what do they think?
Let's listen to the clip.
Whoever
we can.
About.
Okay, we're getting the clip.
The video is called "Wokeness is Literally a Religion." So I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
I just think that he's wrong in the first 2 like the what is this, the bait clip?
Is it like the highlight? Is it like the highlight teaser?
Yeah.
So hard to get your head around the idea that your average functionary in this worldview believes everything is pretend, but they have better values than everybody else. It's not some transcendent spiritual world.
So I mean, that to me, that could be a quick definition of postmodernism, like it generally can. But
okay.
Of course, you can't sum up postmodernism quickly, but do you understand that in postmodernism there's no truth? But then secondly, somewhere down the line, they all start saying, but then we must have these certain morals.
Okay. There's a lot that like we're on the same page. And what I'm saying, like, but the perspective is coming from the other way. So like, I don't disagree that there are postmodernists that say things that y'all don't like. But as far as like how, that's not the gospel. Okay. That's like saying C.S. Lewis is the father of Christianity.
Wait, are you here to preach us the true postmodernist?
No.
Modern
Well, I'm saying if you really want to believe it's a
postmodernism
religion, if James Lindsay thinks that Marxism is the new religion, it's not where it's coming from. It's coming from somewhere deeper.
But he's genuinely
I think
for
he
a long
knows
time been talking about more of a neo-Marxism.
That's like fully praxised out and distributed.
Yeah, which
fully through
what
all
does
art
Marxism
and
do but do that stuff? I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it works. That's what it does. Let's
listen to the clip. Let's listen to the clip real quick.
But that existed before Marxism.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, before and after. He James Lindsay draws back to Rousseau and Hegel.
Yeah. No. But even before Hegel. And first of all, Hegel did nothing wrong, okay? He did all he did was just observe the pattern that's already existing.
I think he did more than observe.
He suggested some tweaks. Okay. Keep going because they're at 29 seconds. Quick.
Hold on. I'm going to listen to that one.
No,
I'll go back to 29 seconds, but I'm going to listen to that exact clip more in context in the actual show real quick.
It's just completely natural.
Let's see. Hold on.
Can you turn it up?
Why is this freezing up on me now?
Society wasn't ready to accept their more enlightened values, and that's why their company failed. And you can see how the externalization of blame.
Sorry, this is a separate thing. That's not why Disney Plus failed. Or sorry, that's not why Disney went down. Disney went down because 3 years after they sold their really cheap, like you get 3 years for $100, that expired and everybody fucking canceled their Disney Plus subscription and the stock tanked for a little bit until people got it back. But it was still way higher from before the pandemic. So like this is him just not understanding like how the market works.
You don't think Disney films have been dropping in?
Yeah. Did you like? I'm perfectly willing to accept that that's a factor, but you don't think that there's a factor in the box office results and the reviews from the shows?
Okay, so the amount of content that Disney's producing now is filling more niches. Like this is what a business wants to do to get more money. So like they're your attention. Okay, here's the internet. Okay, and then here's the shelf of where your attention is. Okay, and you know wherever you put it, people are gonna have it in different places. But like if everybody puts their attention on one shelf, then that's the story that you're gonna think is what is explaining reality. But the truth is Disney's making more money and like doing well. Like the move that just because some of the like I don't know if you've gone to Disney lately, but like it costs.
But they haven't been. Their stock's been going down.
It's not this.
Yeah, like I mean,
time, dude.
But this is absurd. What are we talking about? What Lindsay gets Marxism wrong? How?
Oh, hold on. Let's
He's calling it the new religion.
So what would you
He's
say
not
is
calling
wrong?
it the new religion. He's saying that it is and always has been a religion.
So
okay,
we've
but
had
it's not as pervasive as what he thinks.
But you agree that it's a religion.
So
I can pretend it is.
Okay.
Sure.
One of the reasons why James Lindsay picked up for me is it happened to me in the meat body world. You realize that? It didn't happen online. Like I came through critical theories in graduate literature school.
Yeah. Okay.
You think, and then that's just a bubble. But I also thought it was a bubble At that time, 15, 20 years ago, I was like, whatever, fellers, I'll go back to the real world. But then it came as well into the real world. It's not just an aberration.
Yeah, like, can I ask you again, now that you've said your piece longer, is queer theory a thing? Does it exist? Is there such a thing as queer theory?
And secondly, another thing, like ostensibly, like one of the reasons we started this channel is we were there in ex-Mormonism 10, 15 years ago, you know, and we watched people go down these same directions.
Okay, like, yeah, this is
Does
going
queer
exactly how I
exist?
thought it would go, because like
it's a yes or no question.
Because you've got a boogeyman and all things
No.
fulfill yourself in the boogeyman that you think that you're. Because
the
like,
boogeyman is inside of you. Okay, that's the thing. The real problem is inside of you.
You have no boogeyman.
We know it. Okay, we know who the problem is. All right. If you want to like
No, he's
project all
asking,
that
do
onto
you
us,
have a boogeyman?
yeah, it's me. I'm the problem.
Well,
Taylor Swift.
That's why I say we already know who the problem is. You guys don't realize that that it's inside of you too.
No, we listen to Jordan Peterson. We know that.
He'll save you.
That's what we're saying. He's our savior. That's exactly what I was getting at.
No,
Come
I
on,
know, I'm
man.
joking.
Okay, what's hard to
Okay,
tell?
No. Performance art, please. Like,
no, is it? Like, because I genuinely can't tell because I'm waiting to hear the part.
All right, so hang on. So I feel like okay. Let me try to bridge the gap here a little bit, because it feels like you're asking, does queer theory exist? I actually don't think that Will is denying that it exists. I think he's saying that it's not as prominent as somebody like James Lindsay is saying that it is.
Well,
Is
no,
that
but I mean,
kind of what you're trying to get at, or?
I'm trying to get like, because you're saying like, oh, he overstates the threat. Okay, or like, I mean,
okay. Here's another thing.
That's why I ask you: is Marxism
James
a
Lindsay
threat?
is the number one promoter of drag queens reading to kids?
That's not.
I didn't know about it. I never knew of a drag queens reading to kids until James Lindsay did it, and then it's now in the Pflugerville Library.
I believe
he did it.
You learned.
Thanks to him.
Lindsay did it. Lives of TikTok exists.
I believe that for you, it is in the local paper. I learned about it in local news.
No, but see,
there's
like
an article.
Yeah, man, you're in Austin.
Things, and that inspires people to fill the void. He creates the void in the city that you live in, and then it becomes a thing.
Okay,
this is
so hold on.
If somebody notices something,
it's not a trap. It's not a trap. This is just how the models work. Okay, they build out the things.
No. Okay, the model
creates the voids, and then you pull the data back over into it, and it creates it again. And then
what does James get wrong about Marxism? And also, I would like an answer to these simple questions. Is Marxism a threat at all? Like, I would agree that James Lindsay, I think a valid
what he understands to be
overstates
Marxism,
the threat.
What he understands to be Marxism, and what he connects Marxism to, is conspiracy-minded thinking. Okay, this is why I have a tinfoil hat
Marxism?
to show you.
No, but do you understand it?
Do I understand what you think Marxism is?
Oh no!
Yeah, you've been the one who've explained it to me. I only understand it the way you understand it.
No, don't come on. If James is wrong, you should be able to. If James doesn't understand it, you should be able to tell us what it is. You should be able to tell us exactly.
If you want to know exactly what I think about Marxism, what I understand it
to
be,
I didn't ask you.
Go and watch every single Porch Time episode. You guys have explained it to me.
James doesn't understand it. You said James doesn't understand.
Listen.
So you're saying you never came across Marxism until we were talking about.
I don't know a single Marxist.
I do.
I know ironic Marxists. I know people who pretend to be unironic Marxists.
I know people who say
I know more Jehovah's Witnesses. I know a million times more people that are not.
Have you gone?
None of this is an argument, but you know that none of this is an argument, right?
So you went to. Hold on.
If you understand the data,
I believe your anecdotes. I believe.
Hold on a second.
But what? So what?
I came through liberal arts, state school. James Lindsay, the reason he picked up and started speaking to me is because He read the stuff that I was force-fed to read through liberal arts grad school myself. And I was around these people. There's not one or two of them when he initially started covering critical race theory and those types of things. Critical race theory, explicitly, I can grab the book by Kimberly Crenshaw right there, says it got its start in Marxism, even though a bunch of people gaslight about that whole.
How many Americans are Marxists in the United States? And I'll tell you if I think it's a problem.
What the ones that are like actual straightforward Marxists, because like so much of the stuff, as James Lindsay has demonstrated, this stuff gets
translated. It gets
translated and filtered out into other
itself, like in a data science model, and then it adjusts accordingly to the environment that it's in.
This is a very easy way to find out if this was a genuine question or not. What is the percentage of Marxists that you would consider a threat, a problem? When would it be an issue for you if we had X% of Marxists in America? What's the number where it's a problem?
I mean, because I'd put it in the low millions number, but it's in the.
Do you know? I've said it on this podcast. Do you know? We'll know if you're. Put your hands in the air so we know you're not Wikipediaing. At the height of Nazi Germany in 1945, what percentage? That is honestly the coolest, best thing you've done. I love that. That was perfect.
We don't stand for that kind of
at the
immaturity.
height of the Nazi Party, when the highest percentage of German citizens were Nazi Party members, what percentage of it was it? And for bonus points, what year was that?
Who is Adolf Hitler for Marxists right now?
Shut up.
It has to come from the top.
Don't deflect.
James Lindsay is more of a top-down distributor of content.
Who is Adolf Hitler?
Used.
Do you guys?
No, I'm not. That's not my
question.
No. I know you said like you don't think the Marxists or the leftists have boogeymen right now.
No. Who's
the leader of
our leader?
The top-down guy.
There's no leader. It's distributed because we're not all Marxists.
But
what
James Lindsay has described that out like entirely. He doesn't say there's some like leader who goes out and does it. It does get distributed that way. That's one of the general differences between the left and the right.
Yeah.
What percentage of German voters were Nazi Party members at the absolute height of Nazi Party membership in Germany? Do you know the number? Would you care to guess?
I don't even care 10%. To know.
It's 10%.
I don't fucking care.
And that was 1945.
6%. It doesn't matter.
But hold on. He's answering the question. This is something. If you want a theorist who goes into detail about this,
like how many damn Marxists is a problem? The answer is not very many, because 10% was 1945.
No, and you have to control. You have to control the distribution of content. You can't do that today. Okay.
The distribution. So
that's like me saying you're controlled by Russell M. Nelson. That's like what I'm saying to you.
Do you think Mormons are controlled by Russell M. Nelson?
No, because we have the internet. Our frame of reference is so fragmented today that like you can't even have. You look at the coalition that's under Trump right now and compare it to the 2021 and the 2016 one. It's full of completely different bubbles that are all doing it for completely different reasons each election cycle. Like this is
so you think everything's so dispersed that nothing's nothing?
I'm saying you can't have a group seize the power of this thing. All you can do is find opportunists who fill the void, and then they ultimately fold in and crumble. Like James Lindsay, for example. You're gonna in the coming years, I prophesy. James Lindsay is going to be caught to be doing some like Me Too shit, or like he's going to be connected to some cult.
Would you like to put a bet on it? I'll put a bet on it.
I mean, I'll do it vague enough that it's a prophecy, so there's no like specifics.
No, dude, he won't be nailed down. Haven't you learned this about him so far?
Because it doesn't matter. Like again,
no. Like, and you're the guy who says it. He says we'll put money on it. You say never mind.
So you think James Lindsay is like a kind of level guru?
This is another thing that got me mad. Flip is like. I'm sitting there trying to like show James Lindsay's accusing woke of doing exactly following the same pattern that like Joseph Smith started and Brigham Young continued.
I'm not even disagreeing with that.
Okay.
the challenge was.
And so then in the comments, you're like demanding that I go like do a bunch of fucking research on this shit, and then come back and like
I don't demand that you do
provide
research.
to you.
I didn't demand bullshit.
Evidence
I
that, like,
demanded you do.
Hold on.
Bullshit. I demanded you do research.
This is one of the things.
Promising.
Flip, give me a second.
Look at the comments.
You have been promising 4 weeks to deliver me my ass.
Because I couldn't give a fuck. That's the thing. It's hard to give a fuck on this shit.
No, okay,
because you guys are just you don't understand that you're fighting a cloud that doesn't exist.
You are straight up.
It does exist.
Shrink your view. Target it laterally. Don't look up. If you put your head up, you're gonna get just lost in the sauce. Like you stay low. Focus on your the longhouse. Like what you guys are doing here.
Do clean our rooms.
Building the longhouse for mother. Like I really appreciate it. I love the
best thing ever is when I said, "Show me your hands," and you flip me off. Other than that, you have zero credibility with me. None at all.
All right. Hang on. Chris was wanting to make a point. I want to.
Yeah. Go now.
This is something that I brought up a long time about critics of Lindsay that generally comes up almost anytime I see a critic, because I've listened. One of my problems is maybe I'm autistic in my own way. I listen to and read everything that I can get my hands on. I've listened to everything from Lindsay. I've listened to everybody who's criticized Lindsay that I can get my hands on, including largely the dissident right and those different types of people. And there's some people there's longtime theorists in that, like Gaetano Mosca and even Curtis Yarvin, who talk about the cathedral, or Gaetano Mosca, who talks like that. This is an old theorist who talks about a small political faction always controls all of politics. But James Lindsay does more to describe what the people he's criticizing than anybody does for him who comes to criticize him. Like, he listens to, reads them, puts their stuff out, says it right how they say it, puts it out, and then the people who listen to him hardly put any time into him or listen to him at all. Most of the stuff that you've talked about, he's addressed at some point or another. He addresses about why the thing that he's talking about, not exactly the Marxism that you're talking about. He addresses why it's a dispersed thing and there's no single top-down authority.
Okay.
Not one or two times, multiple times.
But by chasing that train, by chasing that train of like predetermining that like this, I'm going to take. So like my definition of Marxist or true Marxist is somebody who like reads it, abides by it, has a poster on her wall.
What is it
that says?
So who's a Mormon? And like who's like you're.
And
so we're going to get down to like a Platonomism of what's Marxism.
This is what James Lindsay did. He said, okay, but I'm going to do it for Mormons. He's going to say, okay, Mormons are there's like the real Mormons, they make up, whatever percent of America, but then everybody else is Mormon. Anybody who's ever met a missionary who like, anyone who's raising their family in a way that's sort of Mormon-like, or anybody who, basically when you broaden the definition out enough, and then you can start picking examples that you don't like, because you're saying, okay, this is now the shelf, and I'm going to go find examples of it, especially in today's world where, attention is all you need. Like those outrageous things pop up, and then he collects them all, and then he says, okay, this is now Mormonism, even though, Mormonism is what it, like, that's the thing, is like, I'm not trying to, I don't like playing the game of like, well, what is the definition of a word? No, I'm talking about, like, to me, a Mormon is a person who goes to church every week and has a temple recommend, and like, generally believes in a sincere way that they're LARPing it out to.
So I'm just going to repeat what Chris just told you again, because you didn't understand it when Chris told you. James Lindsay has talked about this. Your characterization of how Lindsay talks about Marxism is wrong. No, okay. No.
I can say everybody in America is Mormon. Everyone in America is Mormon.
No.
Hold on, Flip. I'm going to give you an answer to this. Give me a second.
I'm just going to let my cat out. 1 second.
I don't know if he's listening to or not.
I am.
Okay. If you go and read Kimberly Crenshaw right now, who I have read, and a lot of the other people, and that's one of the reasons I have always trusted James Lindsay, because I'm one of the rare persons who read most of the primary works before James Lindsay read the primary works, and even had them forced upon me in grad school and that sort of deal. So I know that that's real, and that's a thing going on in all sorts of different places. But beyond that, they talk about there's something called what Kimberly Crenshaw calls vulgar Marxism, and you're talking about vulgar Marxism, and vulgar Marxism is that thing done by Karl Marx that everybody just still tries to purely follow the original Karl Marx as if they were like Jewish, like they're Jews who are doing the original thing. But as James Lindsay explained and other people explained, and you can even follow Zizek, somebody who's pro this, he was there with Jordan Peterson on their debate and said, who are these postmodern neo-Marxists? When everything he does, he claims that he is a Marxist, and he also claims that he follows Deleuze and Guattari. Those are postmodernists. He is the postmodern neo-Marxist. But that everybody goes, postmodernism and neo-Marxism are two totally different things. Or they talk about the Frankfurt School and say the Frankfurt School versus the postmodernists are two different things. When they know, as you say, Hegel just observed a thing and the left puts it into motion on purpose, or that world of stuff.
What are you talking about? All of that emerged naturally.
What I'm saying, emerging naturally or not, no, Hegel says to put a praxis. Well, actually, even goes back.
Okay, hold on. Go to second 8 on that video.
But let me just finish that thought. There is that the whole entire concept of that world is to continually do a dialectic up into something different. And I know that you know that because you started out sneering at the concepts from the start of it. But it is actually true, and it has been part of it. And when James Lindsay, he has painstakingly discussed all these things, but then later he then just will do a shorthand heuristic of saying Marxism, that's Marxism, that's Marxism. But he's already done the work of labeling out that this has been a winding Hegelian dialectic that's been happening a long time.
Yeah, but it's an error. You take the distinctions and scaling them upwards, and then you start making mistakes. That's when it flops. This is the math.
You'd have to tell me what those ones are.
Yeah, tell us
what I just said. So he did all this.
Marxism? What is the real Marxism?
Real Marxism.
Let me go back to my point from before.
Read and worship Karl Marx. That is real Marxism.
Okay, well,
listen. So you think Marcuse was a Marxist? James Lindsay frequently says Marcuse. We're living in Marcuse's world nowadays. James Lindsay, to teach people Marcuse, he boringly read us the entire things of Marcuse. He's not going out and saying getting an error there. He read us Marcuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's like you keep saying like this is the thing is you can't tell us that he's getting it wrong without telling us what he's getting wrong. Like you're pulling the same the old that wasn't real communism game. If it wasn't real communism, then you should be able to tell us what real communism is.
Okay. So
if
here's
James
what he
Lindsay
did.
doesn't understand real Marxism, tell us what.
He took the word Marxism.
What he did. Don't tell me what he did.
He invented a whole big definition for it. He
quoted
quoted all their texts and stuff like that. Whatever. And then he said, now this is all Marxism, and you have to abide by my definition of Marxism.
No,
that's what he's doing.
I don't think he invented it. I think you are. I think
other people may have reflected on it that way. And that's how, again, I don't know if you've ever heard that song by Tenacious D, The Greatest Tribute. This is what everyone's doing. They hear the song, they play the song, and then they translate it back into the tribute.
Can you define Marxism? Not Marxist.
What's the number?
Marxist was tautological. What's your definition of Marxism? What is it? What's the real Marxism?
It's a word that you guys use a lot to
okay, so you don't know. Then you don't know.
Because you've made it impossible to fucking understand. Nobody like that exists. Nobody like that exists.
No, you're getting back to your straw man. You are getting back to your straw man. I'm asking you to define Marxism. What is it?
No perfect Mormon exists. They're ideas, and the ideas stream out generally to people, and people pick up and follow certain parts.
Exactly.
But we don't sit there and go, "Oh, these Marxists" or something. They say that's a Marxist idea or a Marxist concept,
which is wrong.
It's not.
It's not.
It isn't.
Black Mermaid is not Marxist.
Who said it?
No, there is a genealogy to that stems back to
I can go. This is what the conspiracy minds are doing.
I want to hear what he's
trying to find the patterns.
No, it's funny. Like
you can find those patterns.
Conspiracy mind. They write about it and publish it and compile them in books that say things like critical race theory, and they explain all of their things.
And now we're doing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And because of diversity and equity and inclusion, we're going to turn every redhead black.
And yes,
Right.
Black Mermaid, done by woke producers, is 100% Marxist praxis. That's absolutely true.
That's so stupid. Oh my
Sure.
gosh.
Sure, buddy.
It
What's
gets
that?
it wrong, but
So-
it'll get
so
it
what?
right. Like that.
No,
Listen.
It
Here's
flops on itself.
Look,
here's all the
it's
redheads
like
that have
saying
been turned
you
black.
can't keep saying that we're getting the math problem wrong if you can't show us how to solve it and show us the real answer. If you can't show us the real answer,
Oh,
you can't keep insisting we're wrong.
Look,
It's that simple. No,
Flip,
it really
I knew back then. This is why it took so long. I knew back then.
No.
that
That's not
nothing
why
would
it
ever
took so
satisfy
long.
you. The way
No.
you went. Like, here's the thing.
This is-
If we're really going into if what you call Marxism are right, if we're really
It's
headed
not
into
what I
that
call Marxism,
transhumanist,
it's what they call Marxism.
no, if we're
Stop.
heading into this transhumanist future, whatever, this is what you're choosing to spend your eternity on.
No, this
is
is your
arguing
lane, man.
is engaging online. Every bit of content that you create to put online, this is the data that they'll use to reanimate you and resimulate you. I'm not saying
Sure.
that's true. It can't happen.
Fine,
But like
whatever.
this
But this
is
is a complete deflection.
This is
a
what you're
complete
choosing to
deflection.
do.
So we'll
You
be
can
debating this
choose
into
to
the
engage
eternity.
less
This is a
toxically
complete
online. You can
deflection.
choose to not
No.
always.
No.
All right, I'm out.
Like, I'm like, yeah.
Flip, you are so fucking predictable, but I love you
Sure.
in the other life. Thank you.
Whatever.
You done?
That's what I guess so. That's what I expected. Like, he promised he promised me that he was going to show me mathematically that James Lindsay doesn't understand Marxism, and I think we got our answer.
Well, let's listen. Let me steel man like a little bit. Like, I do think there is something that is true that about just the internet is steering minds and wigging minds out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and I don't sure.
And
that was never
including mine to some level, and including James Lindsay's to some level, because James Lindsay gets very spooked about this stuff. But
Sure.
he also, I'm more than positive, comes from a world that I also come from, where you had much more direct contact with people who really did get funneled into this way of thinking and changed around you and in front of you in the past 10 years. He came through the atheism world, the new atheism world. We've generally covered the stuff that we've lived the lives of watching people go down this, including being around the ex-Mormons in 2007, 8, 9. And watching stuff get to a point where you know, I mean, it creates reactions, it creates reactionaries, and it's not just something that you saw online. Hold on a second here. He lived in Portland, he would have had a different perspective. Oh yeah, that's true. He lives in rural Texas. That's a good point. Like, if we're all just products of our environments, although I've heard Austin's getting kind of wild, but just what he's saying of James Lindsay talking about people who don't exist. Like, if you went through the new atheism moment in 2007, 8, and then saw the Atheism Plus thing come through, and if you went to any sort of liberal arts grad school at any point, like, this is real world stuff. The people go down the path of these things.
Yeah.
But we
I
know. Go ahead.
I know people who said these words, I am a communist. Like, and I mean, and all that, like, the other thing is, like, I know, like, there's a lot of people who won't say I'm a Marxist, but they sure are defensive of it. And they sure, like, I mean, like, just for example, because talking about, like, the decline of architecture, and somebody told me, and, like, this is the first time I've ever heard this, and I'd really like to look into it to see if there's any, like, sliver of truth to it, because I just doesn't make sense to me. But he said that, oh, well, the reason why architecture is so ugly is that after FDR, there was a backlash to the perceived socialism of all of the public works. And, during the Great Depression, they spent a lot of money to beautify. And, like, those are the public works that they used to keep people employed. But they ended it because of anti-socialism. And so that's why shit is ugly now. It's like, I just don't buy it. And, like, where would you hear that? Like that idea must ultimately come from some Marxist somewhere, because it's so bonkers. Like, it's such a weirdly specific, strange thing. But
who's Jack Burton? He says he wants to link that he's met me in real life. I mean,
he's in the Longhouse. He's a recent Longhouser.
You want a link to come on? Anybody else want to come on and chit chat? Anybody else want to come tell us like what their opinions are? So,
anybody else want to talk for 15 minutes and then the first time I say something, go, if you would let me talk, like I'm not crazy, right? He pulled that shit.
Yeah, a little bit, but at the same time too, I agree with him that he wasn't quite done making like a set out point. That
well, no, but I mean, look, because that's things like
I think you were doubtful that it was going to get to a point. But
well, look, hey, did he ever address any of the things we asked? I don't think he did. Most of what he said was stuff like when he talks about the internet and the way this works. Like none of this is stuff we disagree with. And anytime I try to nail him down on any like the most basic stuff, like does queer theory exist? Why can't he answer that? Yes or no? Of course it exists. We all know it does. But just say yes. But like there's something going on that he won't say yes to that.
So it feels to me like maybe the word that could have sort of bridged this gap is Marxist tactics, right? Because like he does have a very, very strict definition of what is Marxist. Like
no,
it has to be somebody.
Tell us what it is.
Well, his
definition.
What he said was that like somebody who listens to and accepts and worships Marx, basically. He was being a little bit tongue in cheek there.
Totally, no, that's but it's totally tautological.
Sure, it is.
But also, I asked him what is Marxism.
What I'm saying is that what Lindsay tries to do is show where Marxist tactics are at work. That's the whole neo-Marxism thing, is that they use like, and that's the thing. I kind of wanted to bring it up, was that like, so we're talking about boogeymen, right? And he'll say that like Marxism is James Lindsay's boogeyman, but then you can point to like real world things. You can point to like Paulo Freire or Marcuse, and you can point to the things that they wrote where they explicitly stated that they are using Marxist tactics. Marx was wrong, that it shouldn't be a class warfare thing, but like an identity warfare thing, basically. And they're cited in the education system a lot. Like we use a lot of what Freire said. And that's not a boogeyman. That's actually like real world data. So I would have liked to bring that up, but there's a lot going on. So I didn't want to bombard him with more than.
I mean, I guess, but look, that thing's like, I mean, why wouldn't he just tell us what Marxism is? He keeps telling us what it's not. Stop telling me what it's not. Tell me what it is, please.
I mean, I think he was trying to shift it into like a more generalized concept about how people get ideas, and I do think it kind of goes into that realm. He said it's not doing like a free will stuff, but it is a little bit free will. Like what's salient to you, what pops out to you. Are algorithms actually things that you control, or the world controls at you? Which I think we're all actually kind of in a bit of a fog of war of that, in the middle of this time. Like, but beyond that, I think Seer Stoner, with all due respect, I think you're categorically wrong that there's not Marxist ideas funneling through real world people all over the place right now, and then some of them are even more condensed actual Marxist. And I even know, like Flips knows some of them. We know some vulgar Marxists who hate the new directions of the race Marxism that's come up in. And
so it's the whole, I don't know, it's the whole thing, because I think of Marxist tactics. I would say one of those tactics is or neo-Marxist tactics would be like race warfare, or identity warfare, all that stuff. I don't like that stuff. So I might accuse somebody of being like using you're doing the Marxism thing, right? And they'll be like, oh, I'm not an avowed Marxist or whatever. No, what I'm saying is you are using a Marxist tactic. I don't like any Marxist tactic. And when I see it, I'll mention that. It doesn't, and it doesn't make it any less valid a criticism just because you don't fully espouse Marxism. And it feels like, because Chris, you actually asked him, you made a good point, because you asked him what would be a Mormon then, because under that like definition of somebody who is perfectly on point with all Marxism and claims that they are and never hides their power level or anything like that, you're gonna have like one Marxist in the whole world.
So let's go back to like all the way at the beginning when we first started talking, and one of the reasons we ostensibly started doing this is because we said people like Larson and DeLynn were picking up generally kind of leftist ideas, or said something like they weren't preaching deconversion, they were preaching a conversion into a sort of neoliberalism. And I would agree to like land on neoliberalism, although Larson pushes more into full on Marxism as time goes by. But we've spent a lot of time picking out some of the things they say, and you can say, well, that's you guys looking for your boogeyman or whatever. But Larson will do things like say, I am not a Marxist. I just think we should go off of the labor theory of value, and each according to his means and each according to like, but I am not a Marxist, which this whole thing is something Marxists, very Marxists or neo-Marxists or whatever Marxist, cultural Marxist, race Marxist, whatever, they all do this. They are bathed in the art of obfuscation, or of saying that whatever thing I'm doing now is bathed anew, it's baptized anew into a whole new concept, because we Hegelized it, and it's bathed anew in a whole new thing, and it's got nothing to do with the genealogy of how we got here. So back to each according to his needs and each according to his means, and you just see the pattern like happen over and over and over again with him.
But also, I mean, just like, notice that he would not cop in any way, shape, or form to the idea that Marxism might be a threat. Just that, like, just that. Not that the world is full of Marxists right now. I'm not trying to get him to say any of that. Just the idea that Marxism is bad, or that there's like it's valid to be concerned if it's like growing in your society. But like he won't say that. Like, why can't you say that? Like, ask me if white supremacy is a problem. Yes. Like, ask me if I'm worried about it. Not terribly. Well, am I a stupid asshole? No, I don't think so. But like, ask me, like, is there a point at which I would be really concerned at the level of white supremacists in government? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say yeah. I'd say about 10%. Like, you know, or 4% or 1% or one, you know, whatever. I'd say a number. Like, no, like, or I'd say, no, this is something I can't tolerate, you know? Like in the case of like racism and Marxism, yeah, I got like no tolerance for racism or Marxism, you know, like the thing that enslaves people and killed 100 million people in the 20th century, no tolerance, you know.
Well, that's not real Marxism, though.
Oh, that's right. But that's because and again, like, I don't think I'm being an asshole by saying, can you please tell us what it is? Like, if you can tell us that it's not that, and that's wrong, then it's totally valid for me to ask, okay, then what is the right thing? Please tell me. But completely dodged a void and then called me an asshole for asking. Come on. Bullshit.
Well, it was a fun time. I need to... I swear, does he have a podcast or something?
I don't know.
I swear I've seen him before, like that room and that getup. I think he's... I'll have to ask him.
Like, the other thing is, because like, kind of says like, oh, you don't get that, like this thing I'm saying about how no, you're feeding the algorithms and all this stuff. Like, no, like, I mean, I don't understand all the nuts and bolts of it, but like, no, this is something I've understood for a long time, that like, you know, it's not all being controlled. Like, that's things like, I feel like he was projecting this conspiratorial mindset onto us generally and Lindsay, you know, which is not true. Like, no, this is not how we're viewing things, you know. And like the way he says, like, oh, the way Lindsay describes Marxism, he says it's like if Mormonism was this. No, none of this was accurate. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, props to him for coming on and trying, but like, he did tell me that he was going to make me eat my words, that he was going to show me mathematically how James Lindsay gets Marxism wrong, and
so I think what he's doing is, because his industry that he works in, it sounds like he has a lot to do. Like, he sees the algorithm, and he probably has a better understanding of the YouTube algorithm or whatever than I do. And what he's saying is that it comes from you, it comes from things that you search, and I think that's true to a degree. It's really difficult to say that some of it isn't pushed, though. Like, it's a real uphill battle to me to say that because, like, I don't know, I'm getting pushed like. Okay. I guess they see that a lot of more libertarian thinking people might eventually fall into the whole monarchism thing, and that's maybe why they're pushing it on me. But also, they're pushing the Young Turks on me a lot, and
So I think I
don't know.
might have a real example of what he's talking about. Because here's the thing: like the thing he's talking about is real. Like these phenomena do happen, and like this is like a famous thing from skeptics' world. But it was like I think it was the late 40s or early 50s or something like that. That in the Pacific Northwest, for like I think it was like for a summer, in all the news, there was all this buzz about something was causing all of these automobile windshields damage, a whole bunch of broken windshields and nicks and dings and cracks. And like there's this whole summer of like, and they were like, is it Air Force testing? Is it aliens? What's causing all this? Blah blah blah. And it's like, and there's this whole buzz about something is causing windows to crack. And then later on, they went and were able to just use insurance data because people just simply filed their insurance claims just like now to get their windshields replaced. And the fact is, there was nothing going on. Just something got in people's heads about the windshields, and so then everybody talked about it. So, like, sure, yeah, I get it. This stuff happens, yeah, for sure. Marxism isn't one of those things. Like,
so let me show you something. I'll make a little point right here in 3 episodes. Here is. He says, where are all these people? These people don't exist, right? Let me pull the moment.
I kind of wanted to hone in on.
Let me pull the moment here where Zizek asked that same question, right?
Begin by this.
Are you hearing it? Am I on?
Yeah.
Designate your, under quotation marks, I'm not characterizing here, enemy, or what you are fighting against as sometimes you call it postmodern neo-Marxism. I know what you mean. All this, from political correctness to these excesses of whatever spirit of envy and so on and so on. Do you think they are really, where did you find this data? I don't know them. I would ask you here, give me some names or whatever. Where are the Marxists here?
You?
So there's the question. So now let's go to his Wikipedia page. Maybe the Wikipedia lies, but let's read it here. He is an international director of Burbank Institute for Humanities, New York University, University of Louisiana. He probably works in continental philosophy, Hegelian psychoanalysis, and Marxism in political theory, film, and criticism. No. And he says, where are these postmodern neo-Marxists? Then you see also here, Lacanian psychoanalysis.
Oh.
Who is Lacan? And he also gets really into Deleuze and post-structuralist. You know, he's one of the famous postmodernists.
I'm sure that Wikipedia is scaling its distinctions wrong.
And look here he is. There is a Lacanian strand of left-wing politics. Saul Newman, Dwayne Rossell, post-anarchism, Louise Althusser, who was Foucault's what do you call it? Like mentor, Slavoj Zizek, the Lacanian guy. But let's go to the third part of this and look, does this get dispersed into the world actually? Well, here's Zelf on the Shelf today. Who was he talking about just today? Let's look up the name Zizek. Does it not understand the word Zizek?
You need to type the Z with the little curly hat on top.
Z.
Yeah, what letter is
Well, Tanner said it. He said Zizek. Maybe he said Slav.
I think it is.
It's just not finding the word. It didn't understand the word that he said in there. Anyway, you can take my word for it. Somewhere towards the bottom of this, he started talking about reading Slavoj Zizek, and everybody needs to read Slavoj Zizek. This was in the Ballerina Farms one. Yep, I just listened to this today.
Slavoj Zizek. Try Slavoj.
Slavoj? I mean, it's... Let me see if you read.
Slavoj.
Slavoj. Oh, yeah, you're right. Slavoj. That's how you pronounce it.
Slavoj. Oh, with a Y. Yeah, Slavoj. Because he's a Slovenian?
He's Slovenian, but it's Slavoj. But I don't know if you're gonna
Slavoj. Yeah, no, J is Y.
Yeah.
J is the
what would the Google thing think is Zizek?
Yeah.
He just
Jared,
misread his name wrong.
in in Yugoslavian and Polish, in the Roman forms of Slavic languages, the J is the ekraktoya in
okay.
yeah, they work exactly the same.
I was wondering because I saw some Ukrainian stuff, or I saw some different Cyrillic stuff.
Yeah, no, so the Ukrainian has the I with the dot that Russian doesn't have, and that's the I. That's because that's their version of the little B with the I.
The I, yeah.
The I, yeah. I've been figuring out how to suss out the different Slavics. Although some of the Turkic Slavic stuff that gets crazy.
Oh damn! I haven't even tried. I've been working on the Arabic.
Or, I mean Cyrillic, not Turkic Cyrillic. Yeah,
it's just fun. Because I did, I downloaded that Assassin's Creed game that you were interested in, and it's okay so far. I don't know. Assassin's Creed hasn't been good for a while, and this was supposed to be. It was originally supposed to be a DLC for the last game. Then they decided they wanted to make a full game out of it, so they amped it up.
No, look at this.
What the fuck?
We met at the gym one time. Come on, man.
Jack Burton? It is Jonah Hill's stunt man. What would you come on to say?
I just wanted to say hi.
Oh,
I miss you, Chris, and I'm really.
I miss you too.
Podcast,
How did you find out about it from Flip?
From Flip, we reconnected and we went.
Fun.
We've been eating at your nightmare restaurant. Like we will never ever make you go there ever.
I'm pretty sure Flip's told like one or two anecdotes about your life here across the years. So
I think so, probably.
Probably something about like buses.
Oh wait,
or cleaning up.
No, while you're here, this is a perfect venue for it. Do you remember when you told me? Because I love it. Because we were in your couch in the Duke Puto's basement, playing some video game, and I remember you had this whole wonderful rant. If you could recreate it now, about the juxtaposition of how you feel about Mormons in your personal life versus Mormons in your professional life.
Right.
Do you remember?
Okay, so sorry, I had a lot of feedback. I had the YouTube stream going. So just one more time, Flip.
Because you remember
Mormons
you told me about how like Mormons in your real life that you didn't like them, and then why you like Mormons in your professional life.
Oh, I love Mormons. I like they're the best neighbors, and like in professional life, like I love just everything about them. And not to
I don't think you remember. You might have been drinking more than
but no. It was just like they line up perfully in queue. And
did you grow up here?
Like,
did you
all my life? Yeah,
your whole life, and you still love the Mormons?
I did.
Like a lot of people have like a lot of heartburn from childhood that I know of.
Like I just remember like
my personal life was awesome. So
you're saying like like in my personal life, like Mormons, like they judge your lifestyle. They don't like you drink, and they're always up in your business. But at work, they line up single file. They say hello. They have exact same. They're never and they're never drunk. You know,
whereas like drunk. They never.
Because I was there the day you got home from some of the drunks on the bus days.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Well, those. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I just came to say hi. I wanted to show you my new recipe. It's when you add gummy worms to fish food ice cream, Ben and Jerry's. I just wanted to promote Ben and Jerry's.
Where to go?
And
I heard you got like all super in shape.
I lost like 50 pounds. What happened was I couldn't eat gluten, and I lost like 50 pounds. And I got a puppy who's a Kelpie, and she's my personal trainer. So that's why you don't see me at Vasa.
But he's more word of wisdom than almost all of us, because you said you haven't even had caffeine in a year.
1 year sober, no caffeine, no gluten,
no caffeine for
no caffeine,
oh
no
my
gluten.
Gosh.
Yeah,
me.
Yeah, he's more Mormon. Wait, and like you are married. You're married.
I think no caffeine even beats my diet stuff, because I can't do that, man.
Yeah.
And you're more Mormon than most Mormons.
How did you beat caffeine? Like, what did it feel like?
Caffeine's easy. Sugar is hard. I'm diabetic, and I cannot give up sugar. Like, it's just so hard, and it's hard for me to say no, because like my mother-in-law will make me like a special dessert, and she's like, "I made this just for you, and it's gluten-free," and I'm like, well, there goes my cleanse. Because
you don't have, because like one thing is like I mean, if I'm ever cursed, someday it'll happen, but I'll get diabetes or whatever. Because artificial sweeteners I can just taste. Like the last time I was at your house, like, hey, do you want this passion fruit spritzer thing? And I went, yum, and I cracked it open and took a big glug, and then I said, I'm sorry, I can't. And
you can't do stevia. Yeah, you're like
any artificial sugar, any sugar. What ain't sugar?
It all tastes like metal to you.
Well, no, they're different. Like I'm pretty sure at this point that I could distinguish. I don't know. I wonder. Probably with a little practice. Aspartame is very different from sucralose, and sucralose is close to stevia, but not quite. But aspartame is very different. But they have distinct flavors like that are just immediately I know instantly that they're in there. But they're not identical at all.
Yeah, like aspartame makes me sick. Like I have a very sensitive stomach, but stevia doesn't make me sick, and so that was the only good stevia like drink I've ever found was the.
I don't like stevia. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I usually like most artificial sweeteners, but stevia doesn't work for me.
The snow cones at America First Filled have stevia in them, and they're amazing. Like, yeah. And here I am promoting stevia now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against artificial sweeteners. I mean, I'll pound them, I'll snort them, man.
Eric, are you a Christian?
I am agnostic. Oh. I joined the Church of the Latter-day Dude.
That's right. No,
and I am part of White Dudes for Kamala Harris. Like I came onto your show to be like the libtard who's going to put everyone in check.
You call us all weird.
Yeah, but yeah, I am officially a Dudist priest.
Hey,
me
too.
No, you can be saved because we're all technically unaffiliated. Really, is what.
Well, I'm very agnostic. I can tell you that.
We're the agnostic.
Pick a side, coward.
Pick a side. Like when it comes to politics, I'm just gonna say like 2 words when it comes to Kamala Harris. Good enough. Like period. Full stop. Like we don't have to go verbose. We don't need to go verbose about this. I'm gonna be. But
if they made that their campaign thing, I would seriously. That honesty would make me like. Okay, well, okay. I might.
That is absolutely right.
That's it. Full stop. We don't need to go verbose about white.
That's all I ever needed to hear from anybody.
White Dudes for Harris. But I am
good enough for what though?
I was on a Zoom meeting with her last night. I'm not.
You did the White Dude Zoom meeting?
I missed that. I didn't know about it, and one of my coworkers mentioned it, so I did like my union.
You could have done the white women one.
The AFL-CIO had like a clip. It wasn't an actual Zoom meeting with her. It was a pre-recorded message of like, I'm pro-union. And we're like, yeah, here's all our credit card numbers.
But wait, because when you say good enough.
Wait a minute.
Good enough.
Not Trump. So it's like those billboards.
Just to be clear,
not MAGA. I take off my like
they
live glasses and I look at it and in black and white, it would just say not MAGA, right? And it's like, good enough. Good enough. Like it's like this Republican is not MAGA, and it would like my. If you ever seen the movie They Live with the black and white glasses and the aliens, it just translated into 2 words: good enough.
Is there a
she's Brad, man? She's Brad. Aren't you stoked on her? Because she's Brad.
Dude, you know, I like that one. I heard one Charlie X song, and I was like, this is cool. Kind of like I've heard 4 Taylor Swift songs, and I was like, neat. Cool, and then I just like moved on to like back to heavy metal. Like,
is there a hypothetical limit to how corrupt someone?
Eric, if you were the Democratic Party, I would be. Well, I mean, it's what I really thought they all were up until 2012. Really,
I registered independent. I've been.
This thing is because like Eric
for over 20 years. Sorry,
Eric. No, sorry, and I cut you off, but like because Eric is way more based about a lot of things than he can talk about publicly as a Kamala.
Yeah, he's a counterfactual to us. He's showing us that like the Seer Stoner idea is right, that doesn't exist on the left.
Are you even more racist?
But hang on, wait. There's a question I want to ask you though. Is there any hypothetical limit of corruption at which point you would say, okay, Trump, fine?
You know, no. Like
there it is.
It would always be third. Could you go third party?
I would not go for like Robert F. Kennedy. Maybe I would.
We're talking like you had.
Chance. I would give.
We're talking like your Democrat option is not
right.
Kamala. We're saying you're facing the scuzziest, obvious scuzz in the world.
Right.
No, not even a.
I voted Libertarian. I voted Green Party. I voted like Chester Cheeto. You know, like I wrote in Alpha Malmachian. Like he's not even a U.S. citizen, but I just wrote it in anyway.
We might have voted for the same person one year. We might have been 2 votes for Chester Cheeto.
This question is like, for me as a registered independent, and I've never joined a political party. I've always been unaffiliated. I'm the vote everyone's going after, right? But like I voted for Pete Buttigieg in the primary because it was open to independents, and I want a bullet train to Vegas. How cool would that be? But anyway, Harris is like, look, we can go on all day about Harris, right? And you follow the news more than I do. I listen to this podcast while I'm walking my dogs, and I'm having a great time. And it's good, like hearing your voice, Chris. But like because we never hang out in real life. But I'm enjoying this. I'm not like whining or like saying like we should hang out, we should hit the gym together, you should come to the dog park and throw a frisbee at my puppy.
I got a dog that I'm out with almost all weekend, every weekend. I put in 80,000.
Dude, you got to meet Charlie.
Nice.
If Charlie Dog and Julie Dog might create a puppy explosion.
Well, we did like 3 hours on Pioneer Day, like hiking. We did. Have you done Elephant Rock and Bountiful?
No, I haven't taken him to good hikes. I'm usually just kind of running around parks in the city.
Okay, yeah, because we just did the one in Taylorsville today for the first time, just to get a new scenery. And I heard that like there wasn't mud, so I'm like, oh, cool. I don't have to shampoo my dog after like taking her to an off-place dog park. So we went to the one on 12th West and 5400 South.
Yeah, nice. I walk him back in the on the Jordan River like all the time.
You guys are not that far apart, and you go on long walks. It wouldn't be hard for you guys to just meet on the walk.
Yeah, my dog loves dogs. He is a dog fanatic, man.
Well, cool. Yeah, but anyway, I just thought I'd tune in tonight. I had the opportunity, like, because it started at 8. Usually, like, I have like union meetings on Thursdays, and then like I was doing yoga, and then the yoga lady switched to Tuesday. And so I was like, cool, I can get on my laptop and just come like promote ice cream and gummy bears and like kind of break up.
Funny. I mean, this night's a good night. We let Seer Stoner get his stuff in, and we let Eric make a pitch for the Union Kamala vote.
Did you know about that gummies is one of Chris's kryptonites?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, you know that? Oh yeah. Like
my bad, Chris.
Like, ice cream is not
no,
ice cream.
Well,
I'd probably just throw it back up. But.
He's like a Greek myth of resisting temptation. But like I know from.
But when I take the temptation, I take all the temptation.
No, that's like he's like you back in the day with the. I tell so many people about Edward 40 Hands. Here's what's funny is because Eric had Eric and his best friend Joey were and are just wonderful, upstanding society contributing citizens, but they used to party down in the day, and they had names for their drunk personas, and Joey was Duke Puto just because that's perfect. But even better was Eric. Eric was Ted, short for Ted Kennedy.
the legends. The
legends of the alcoholic Ted Kennedy. And so
he got so drunk before work one day he barfed in the parking lot of Congress. Like he never after the Chad, he didn't like go sober. He didn't join AA or anything. He still went to work drunk.
Fucking Chad.
I've always used you as an example of as an outlier out there because there's a lot of people because you were interesting to me in that you were somebody who you were never an alcoholic, you were somebody who's tonight is the night that I fuck around, and then you would maximize, and then you just would go many weeks of basically living like a Mormon, and then you're and tonight I will fuck around again, and but when you fucked around, you maximize.
80 ounces to freedom. It's like you just listen to that Sublime album, 40 ounces to freedom twice, and you get through 80 ounces of Miller Lite duct taped to your hands. Yeah, Edward 40 Hands.
Old Edward 40 Hands.
Oh, we report such debauchery around here. We're just hey, everybody be cool to Mormons and be more like traditional relationships and all that stuff and get drunk. But
no, like no, yet that seems like because it's been years for you, right? Since you've had a proper
1 year.
fuck
I'm 1 year sober. Like, yeah, and then.
no, but
I
even
really
then,
did
that's
feel-
like because like I
even
even know
before
like from
that, like it
yeah.
was because I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. My doctor was like, metformin and tequila, not such a good combo.
is
So
that
I was like,
eternal, or are you able to curb that off?
I just quit. Like I'm like I know this like how this is gonna sound, but like I'm having just as much fun playing basketball with my friends as I was drinking at a bar with my friends. Like I'm still getting that. I'm still getting that natural high. Like
sound like around here, we love stuff like that.
yeah, like I like I'm having fun playing basketball with my friends, and my beautiful wife just walked in the room. I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 dogs, 3 cats. Life is good. Like quitting alcohol was easy because I don't feel like crap. Like and so for everyone it's different. For me, it was easy.
Do you ever think of going on Mormon stories and crying about your nightmarish upbringing in?
I've avoided.
Murray?
This is actually my first experience like doing anything online.
Oh,
Like
really?
I've never logged into Reddit, and I was on Reddit for 15 years.
Really?
Like, and I never upvoted, I
made
never downvoted, I never did anything.
You
I
never
just nothing. Like
I made the front page of Reddit twice.
Nice, way to go.
Yeah. I think they were both Mormon fuck cartoons.
Okay.
But that was also 10 years ago when fuck cartoons were huge. But I haven't logged back into Reddit in
That was the
7-8
distant
years.
past.
Yeah. Maybe Seer Stoner's right, and that's like why I fell off the deep end the wrong way.
Yeah, I was gonna say this you're immune to Seer Stoner's worries about the boogeyman.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that strange?
Look at this. I found it. It's Juke. JUK. Yeah.
Juke.
Wow.
Juke.
How'd you find that?
Oh, it was hard. But here it is, just to prove what I was saying, finishing the thought from earlier, and then we'll talk over that.
Philosophy of it is, who was it? Was it Zizek or somebody a little later? One of the
I could hear that being Juke.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
a lot, algorithm.
You should have said it in Tanner's like
Zizek. I was trying to do Zizek, but how do you write Zizek?
There's on my YouTube suggestions talking about happiness.
Eric, do you know who Slavoj Zizek is?
A little bit, not a lot. But...
I don't know if they call it the cult of happiness, but this idea that like the American idea is like one of happiness, and it's sort of this false idea that people are striving to, constantly consuming and working in order to attain, when it's just, again, this like ideal that doesn't exist. You're never just going to be like just brim with joy 24/7, regardless of the religion you frequent or the special role that you get called in the office, like or the car, you drive a Lamborghini, now you're happy, great. Now you're working on a farm, now you're happy, great. The reality is that happiness is a point on a normal cyclical human emotion cycle that we go through bouts of happiness and bouts of less happiness, and it's never just this like one static emotion. And you can be like overall content with your life. I think that's something we should all strive for, but the way that it's set up,
anyway, it goes, and maybe we'll pull it up later, but it gets to fatness, and that people aren't at fault for their fatness.
Did you see what Troy said?
I'm 100% at fault for my fatness. And I would like me, myself, and I, not Ben and Jerry and gummy worms.
It's actually mostly capitalism.
Troy says next week Tanner discovers Buddhism. I think they already talk about Buddhism all the time.
There's no way Tanner hasn't already went through his white woman Buddhism phase.
Oh, Buddhism's so fun. But anyway, that was just like making the point that the Zizek stuff flows. It flows through, and Zizek says, "Where are these?" And you are, and that's just kind of like making the point of a lot. And I'm not saying Seer Stoner was doing that he is. I could believe him that he's not that, but that's also a world of people saying that I'm not the thing that I am. They don't like labels.
Is Seer Stoner? Does Seer Stoner think that we think he's woke?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, that's things. I'm genuinely, and I feel like I've given Because again, weeks, literally, he promised me weeks ago. It's been coming forever. Like he was gonna lay it all down, and then he's like, "Okay, I'll come on." And what did he? I mean, I can't.
I mean, I talked to him a little about it before that I said, like, that's going to get tough with Flip. You know it. I'll try to be super nice, but it's going to get that. I said that to him.
Well, no, but like, hey, but I mean, look, I ask a plain question, like, does queer theory exist? Oh, I knew you were going to get like this. What the fuck is that?
Well, I mean, you're
asshole.
If
Well, okay, but like, hey, he's the guy who he said he was going to make me eat my words. He made all these. He laid this all down. Like, and I'm like, okay, and like for weeks now, literally months, I've been calling his bluff. Okay, and that thing is like, so most of what he said was shit like, okay, stuff I agree with, like the internet. No, you feed the algorithm. I get that. And then also James talks about people going to jail, like you pointed out. I've made that criticism. And then everything else was like, oh, well, he's got a boogeyman. Okay, is there any threat? You're an asshole, Flip. Like, all right, there you go. And then the other thing is like, well, how many Marxists are there? Is there a number where it's a problem? And like I said, like this is one of my tests of like, how do I know this is a serious proposition? And this is like goes back to my old this ground zero thing. When they say, oh, the ground zero mosque, it's too close. Okay, if it's too close, then how far away is far enough? Right? Like, how do I know you weren't sincere? Because you don't have an answer to that question. Right? That's how I know you weren't sincere, because you can't even say that there is a theoretical, like, even if you can't give me a hard number, yes, I can imagine a point at which there would be enough Marxists that I'd say that's a concern.
Well, I think to his defense, and I want to defend him, Seer Stoner, is that Flip, you're intimidating, and you and just in all fairness, like, I don't think he was prepared to be like, I wouldn't say like you ran over him, like, because I'm comfortable around you because I've known you for 20 years, but I think like he was just overwhelmed, and then like. He's like, oh, I'm retarded. I'm like,
no, but like this thing, like this thing when people say like, when people say, oh, like when he's like, oh, I ran over him, like, okay, because I just used this analogy earlier today. Okay, when you're playing chess with somebody and they just keep making the best move every time, it feels like getting run over. It really does. Because I've played chess with Yugoslavians, and it feels like getting run over. Because it doesn't matter. Like every time you're like, okay, I've really thought about this, but they keep making the best move. And no, I'm not running you over. I'm just making the simple, fast move. Like if you're gonna tell me, no, he says Marxism is what he says about Marxism is wrong. Okay, then I'm gonna do the simplest thing. Tell me what it is. Guess how I know he's full of shit? Because he can't tell me what it is. All right, I'm an asshole. Fine, I don't give a fuck.
Oh no,
like,
I'm
he's
just,
the
I'm
guy.
just,
like I felt
a little. I just felt a little bit.
He's like, because like you don't know like there's the whole Facebook backstory. There's like he says all this shit. He talks all the smack in the world, and like fine, and back it up. But like I don't know, whatever.
So let me rant into this stuff just for a little bit, as I did earlier. But it's apropos what's going on in the weird world right now as well, because this stuff does tie to Peter Thiel and JD Vance, but you could say that elite theory is just theory. I mean, every one of these different people say there's a theory is just a theory. It's cobwebs, like Nietzsche says, cobwebs are building in the air and all that sorts of stuff. And there's actually a real world out there. True, we're all just mapping stuff that's not entirely mapped on. But the theory of these people, which is definitely the theory of Curtis Yarvin, Nick Land, and the different dissident right people who, for sure, JD Vance has read it. I shared on the Longhouse Michael Millerman going over JD Vance's ties to Peter Thiel and Curtis Yarvin, who studied the living crap out of these guys, called the Italian School of Elitism, like right over here. But I could sum all these different guys up into just general points that the point that Flip was making about like the small percentage of Nazis, actual like full bore Nazis that steered the whole society. That's these guys' point about everything. They have the point, and they back it up very well. It all starts back with Machiavelli. That's why you can say it's elite theory. But we all know Pareto because we talk about the Pareto principle so much. What's the Pareto principle? All the wealth, everything goes to a top 1%. All the attention, he says, attention. All those sorts of things follow the Pareto principle. Gaetano Mosca says a small political faction has controlled every society ever. What Curtis Yarvin says is you can't get populist change. You can only change stuff with a monarch, right? Their whole entire view of the world, and you can get a little spooked about this. James Lindsay is spooked about this, the person we were defending. James Lindsay is spooked about J.D. Vance. I showed you guys the Lotus Eaters episode where they were getting upset at James Lindsay. Those guys are monarchs, but it's always a little bit easier to accept people as being into monarchy when they're British. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
you hear an American guy say, "I want a monarchy," and you're like, "What's wrong with this dude?" And then you hear
Curtis Yarvin American.
He's American, yeah. Californian. He's a literal Californian.
Oh well, I can't blame him.
Silicon Valley, since forever Silicon Valley guy, and he does get like funding and different ideas like from Peter Thiel. But you can read his book online. It's called Unqualified Reservations, and it picked up entirely through the dissident right, and he pulls back on a lot of these different theories. Or an Englishman like Thomas Carlyle, or who's the older English guy who was critical of the I'll pull it up in a second. But Thomas Carlyle is the guy who was famous for bringing up the concept of great men in history theory. You've heard the great men in history theory. Oh, this great men in history. No, it's not just single great men. Well, Thomas Carlyle was the guy who really put that thing forward. Mid 1800s English dude, and he's prolific as hell. Like if you read him, like if you think like Foucault is difficult to read or something like that, try to read some Thomas Carlyle. And this stuff it's been bubbling up forever. You've heard me talk about it for forever, but they're not generally wrong. Like I've always kind of generally said about them is I think that they have good critiques, shit prescriptions. That's what I think about them. And their critiques of how democracies work and they still become aristocracies. Like you think you're not an aristocracy, you always are. I mean, so these guys have the belief that you don't get they're anti-populist. They think the populism's wrong. What do? You get the Elon Musks, you get the Peter Thiels, you get a counter elite to take out the cathedral, which is the other elite. And that whole thing is built under the concept. We'll see if they're right or not, but it's built under the concept of the exact point that Flip was making, that it's a very small faction of any given political system that is actually running that system.
Well, goddamn.
Well,
that was a lot of
can't
fun.
Argue that. Yeah, I can't. Well, you know what, Chris? I can't argue that. So, yeah, it's an interesting time to be alive, and oh man, I'm turning into that guy. But yeah, no, I can't argue any of that. Like, I do want to watch Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg duke it out in the Coliseum. Just
yeah,
like,
I don't think it's
like,
didn't it get canceled?
Did that get canceled? Like, I really desperately wanted to watch two billionaires beat each other up instead of two poor people beating up each other for rich people to watch. Like,
I mean, I have to imagine Zuckerberg would kick his ass, right?
I think he's got more reach, but I think Elon's
but Zuckerberg's got more experience and he's been training.
Yeah, he's been training and he's pretty fit. Elon Musk isn't fit. He is probably bigger than him though. I don't know.
Did they ever reschedule the Tyson fight?
They haven't, yeah.
They haven't. Okay. Yeah, my neighbor invited me to come watch that. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe this time he won't bite his ear off. So
I want to see that, but I think Tyson might be too old and punchy, and
Tyson's gonna fill it. Like at that age, he's gonna be hurting.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know that he like smokes a lot of weed these days, so he won't be hurting too bad. But like he's gonna be like he's gonna be smoking like 3 months worth of weed in one night. Like he's gonna like after that fight, after and like I think Tyson's gonna win, but I made a lot of money, I can tell you, betting on when Conor McGregor fought Manny Pacquiao, I bet every white dude that like not Pacquiao, but George. Oh my gosh, why can I not think tonight? No, not George Stephanopoulos. The guy who won 50 fights, that beat up his wife, that fought Pacquiao.
Dude, beat up his wife and professional athlete doesn't really narrow it down.
Yeah, no. He's from Flint, Michigan. He's 50-0. He fought Conor McGregor boxing, and
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd, yeah. So I bet a bunch of white people that Floyd Mayweather was gonna win, and then I just started raking in the money. I think Tyson's gonna win, but he's gonna be in a world of pain.
See it, man. It really hurts and see it.
Oh man, Seer Stoner was gonna Bagley explain us. I wanted to get to that part. He was gonna tell us like why we were missing the humor in Bagley cartoons.
So the Bagley thing, if I had to guess, what he's gonna say is because that was the comic that it was a bunch of like good guys versus a bunch of Christian nationalists, and they were both pulling against a giant wishbone. And I was like, I don't get it. What's the point? The wishbone is supposed to break. You're supposed to do that. And he said we didn't get the humor. And I imagine what he's gonna say is that when you break the wishbone, whoever gets the biggest side gets their wish. So if the MAGAs break the wishbone and get the bigger side, then they get their Christian nationalist wish to end democracy, which is just.
Isn't that what we're supposed to understand from that? Like, is
I think so.
A double meaning in wishbone or something we're missing? Or...
I don't know. Those are the only two options: democracy or MAGA. Flip, you're muted. I think you're trying to talk.
Yeah, Flip, you're muted.
But I think he's projecting onto us a view that we don't have. I think he did that tonight a bit. Like,
but maybe there is something in this we're missing entirely.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't say that about you guys at all. I would defend you guys saying that, and I think Pat Bagley's got some pretty okay. I've been reading the Tribune for years, and I would so I get the Desert News, and I would swap papers with one of my coworkers who had the Tribune. Because I like the Desert News comics better. Like, they had better comics, and I'm talking about the syndicated ones.
That is important.
That is important. And then I just didn't want to give money to the Salt Lake Tribune, so I read my coworker's free newspaper. But anyway, but I think Trump recently said, and I'm not saying that you guys are saying this, but Trump recently said if you vote for me in 4 years, this won't be an issue. This won't be a problem. And maybe I just heard the audio clip on the liberal media or whatever. But
you watch the
whole thing, he's not talking about that, right? Or
yeah, there's additional context.
Yeah,
the context was he was talking about Christians who don't traditionally vote. He was addressing them, and he says, "You Christians who don't traditionally vote, just come out for me this time. Come out for me this one time."
Yeah,
and then you can go back to not voting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure what he meant by that was that I'm going to become an emperor and I'm never going to leave power.
Jared, it's God Emperor.
Women change to the kitchen.
So but
on the bus.
Think in his heart he only wants 4 years. He wants 4 more years to stay out of
prison. No, I think he's a terrible narcissist, and I think that if he could, he would get more power than that. Right? So would Joe Biden, so would Kamala Harris, so would every president we've had for my entire lifetime is probably a power hungry douchebag. It's just Chris talks about this a lot. It's the Machiavellians versus the what am I thinking of?
The grandiose narcissist, the dark triad traits. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ones that can hide it versus the ones that don't. People don't like Trump because he's a narcissist and he's a douchebag, but he's obviously a narcissist and a douchebag.
Speaking of Italian elite theory, this goes all the way back to Machiavelli, the kind of the start of Italian elite theory. And he says, up at that level, you got foxes or you got lions. And the lions are brash and big and stupid in your face, but strong, and the foxes are sneaky and sneaking around and stuff. But if we're talking dark triad traits, I mean, I think in my book, I would take the lion over the sneaky foxes, because you know what it is, you know what you're getting. It's coming direct at you, and it's not doing all these clandestine sneaky moves while smiling in your face.
Eric, I'm gonna put you on the spot, and of course, you don't have to do anything.
I'm the guest for tonight.
But I'm gonna ask you a question I asked you before.
Sure.
But I'm gonna ask you the question, and then I'm gonna mute and just let you talk to Chris and Jared.
Okay.
And you can pretend like I'm not here, and that you don't have to ever hear from me when you answer this question. But the question is, what is the worst thing Donald Trump did?
That is a great question. So Flip, we reconnected and we've been going out to brunch, and he loves to ask me these questions. And we
haven't told our parents.
Here's the long. You
guys have been going to brunch?
Brunch. We haven't told our. No, it's been great. It's been wonderful reconnecting. He introduced me to
you
a
kiss
very
with tongue
fun
or not?
No, we held hands, but not really. No, I'm happily married to a beautiful redhead.
Eric didn't talk to me for the same reason.
You vote for Kamala Harris, and
you didn't text me back because I said I really like the ending
we're not
of season 2
re-adjudicating
of
that.
The Mandalorian, and you said that Disney gang raped the Mandalorian, and I didn't text you back, and then I didn't text him back after you said that Disney gang raped the Mandalorian.
These are fights we've all been dealing with.
And I didn't text him back,
years.
and we just ghosted. He just like it was like this silence for years, right?
If you vote for Kamala Harris, then the reboot of your life, your redhead wife is definitely going to be black.
But yeah,
one day you're going to wake up.
So back to the answer. To your
What's
question.
the worst thing Donald Trump?
The worst thing Donald Trump, and I'm going to give you the longest, most verbose, like annoying answer ever. I live in Utah. Utah's going to go 75% Trump. It does not matter how I feel about Trump. It doesn't matter how I feel about the Trans-Pacific Atlantic trade agreements. It doesn't matter what I feel about any of his policies. It doesn't matter that he never built me a bullet train to Vegas. It doesn't matter. Like the worst thing that Trump did to me, I don't know, the deficit, the budget,
I agree with that for sure.
The budget went up. But I will I'm just gonna be really honest with you guys. At my work, we take tax dollars. And when Trump was president, there was never a better time to be at work. It was awesome. But what did he do to me personally, or overall? What was the worst thing he did?
No. Not to you personally. Yeah, just
in office. Because I vote for my self-interest.
Let me narrow the question.
Yeah, self-interest. Like I was gonna say from the start, if there's anybody on Earth who has an obvious reason to be more on the side of the government stuff, it'd be union workers who get paid by the government.
Right.
I mean, that's
tax dollars,
and on top of that, tax dollars. But on top of that too, is I don't think that you're doing a job that's a schlubby job in that world. I think it's a job worth doing and worth being there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't. Trump might too. I don't know, because I don't think he wanted to axe everything. But
I think
Eric is just a schlub by choice. I mean,
the biggest criticism I have is that the deficit. It has to be the deficit. It's 30 trillion plus interest, so you're looking at 90 trillion.
Okay,
and money is money, right? And budgets are budgets. And my work is barely recovering from the pandemic. And we can't blame Trump for the pandemic. He listened to his heart, and he listened to Fauci, and he did what he thought was right. But don't get me wrong.
Are you critical of Trump for following Fauci?
No, I'm critical of Trump.
I'm surprised you acknowledge that Trump has a heart. I'm kidding. I'm not.
That's touche. But yeah, I would say the deficit was the biggest. Because a lot of what Trump said he was going to do, he actually went out and did it, and he kept his word. I don't agree with his policies, some of his policies. I'm not going to lie about that. But I'm trying to think what was the worst thing about Trump?
Let me narrow my question in a bit, just because.
Okay.
Because what I'd rather get at is why anybody but Trump? Because if you want to tell me that Trump is a giant turd, I'm an open book. I'm not going to argue with you that he's a giant turd. But
policy is important, right?
But I'm willing to. I think we could argue, and I don't think I would have to do it. I think these two guys could do it. You wouldn't have to listen to me. That, in terms of giant turdiness, Kamala is at least the turd of Trump. But
right, yeah, and she's not perfect, and I don't see eye to eye with her. But I'm still probably gonna go out to Nevada and campaign for her in the state that matters. Because, I would even go to Atlanta. Have you guys heard about Dragon Convention? Dragon Con, Labor Day weekend, it's all about dragons. And I'm man,
you want to know what? I I did not like Game of Thrones, and I am enthralled with House of Dragons just because of the dragons.
You didn't like any
House
of Game of Thrones?
Well, I liked the first season, and then I lost track of it, but I found it just kind of meh, and then I didn't stick with it long enough. I mean, we've talked about how like I just couldn't keep up with it because I was watching it in real time, and then after a while, I was like, if I have to wait 2 years between these, I forget everybody who it is, and I don't want to watch it again. But the House of Dragons,
that it was so good that it was one of the best shows like ever, and then like
I'll probably watch it all the way through after.
Don't. That's I always tell people don't. It ended so badly. My wife was like, "Do you think I'd like it?" And I was like, "No."
This most recent House of Dragons episode I've watched twice. I might watch it a third time. I have never in my life watched a TV show like that. The dragon stuff in it is so awesome. It is so stinking awesome. I can't even. Have you been watching that?
Did I watch House of Dragon? I've seen random episodes of Game of
say a
Thrones.
negative thing about it.
Everybody, I haven't heard anyone say anything negative about it. Honestly, I've heard it's very, very
the
good.
dragon stuff was so sick. It was like your dogs and how they interact with you mixed with Jurassic Park, and it was so freaking cool. Man. I can't even describe it. You know.
Yeah, I haven't. Full disclosure, I haven't caught up yet. I'm not caught up with House of Dragon or The Boys because I have a puppy now, and I've been dedicating my free time to the puppy. But I'm so excited for House of Dragon, like, and to get caught up and to like just because I was such a Game of Thrones fan that I would watch every episode twice. I'd watch it without subtitles, and then I'd watch it again with subtitles because I'd read all the books. I'm a huge George R. R. Martin nerd. Like anything that he's ever done, I'm like 36 hours into watching someone else play Elden Ring on YouTube.
I watched Flip play it that much, and he was at my house when he was playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, like I'm terrible at most video games, and Elden Ring, guys, like, nope, not even gonna. Like, I'm not even gonna waste my time like dying 600 times.
Oh, not Elden Ring. That was Skyrim.
That's Skyrim. Yeah.
Isn't there a bunch of dragons in Skyrim? Or at least
But Skyrim isn't like a skill game. Like it's a grind game. Elden Ring is fucking tough.
Yeah, and
that's Dark Souls, right?
Yeah, I'm a Dark Souls fan. I just haven't played that one because I never got that generation console, which I still need to get so I can also get Troy's game. Did you know that Eric, that Troy Levitt, the guy who he was one of the directors on the Harry Potter game, is there in the chat?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I love Hogwarts Legacy. Congratulations on such an amazing title. Like that Hogwarts Legacy is, and I've been an Avalanche fan for years. I don't know if you worked on Mad Max, the video game, but huge fan.
He's worked on a lot of Avalanche.
He worked on all that stuff. He was
Mad Max is underrated. Troy, is that one of Troy's? That game is criminally underrated.
Yeah, a huge fan, have been for years. Cars 3, if you ever played that video game, I don't know. That
Cars
was Avalanche.
3?
Cars 3, the video game.
I know. So
yeah,
I know
think I've heard Troy
on...
talk about Cars too. He was working on
better than Mario Kart.
Oh,
he worked on Disney Infinity, which is not a game I ever would have even thought of playing, but my siblings were younger and liked it, and we had a shitload of fun on those games. We liked those a lot.
I just pulled this up because it was one of the things earlier with Seer Stoner that we said these are all the redheads, and Elon just actually tweeted this last week. But these are all the redheads turned black, and like I kind of wish the Seer Stoner chose an example that, because I think there are examples that aren't necessarily something you stem back to Marxism, but this ain't one of them. Like this one, you can definitely steer back to DEI.
Well,
stuff,
so this is probably the main disagreement that he was having with you guys, is that I think what he is saying is that in order for me to call the recasting a very old Marxist, the person had to do it, like the director had to do it saying, I am doing this for Marxist purposes. And I think that's a threshold that almost nobody would meet.
Yeah.
But what James Lindsay is saying is that it is Marxist tactics, like cultural tactics, that brought us to this point where swapping every redhead out for a black person was the right move.
But as I've mentioned to Seer Stoner before, once again, go over to the dissident right. Read Paul Gottfried. That guy's a famous paleocon, ran around with San Francisco in the 1980s and 90s. He's got an entire book saying that none of this is Marxist fault.
So
this is liberals' fault. And I've read that entire book. So I've heard people who from the other direction have come at Lindsay in the same thing. And it's also Eric Kaufman, who just released a new book, has a whole book saying like, there's Marxist ideas in there, but I think it's more liberalism that did it.
But also, like to give Seer some steel, man, is that like I was just listening the other day to I think Short Fat Otaku talking about like why do we say woke is Marxist? I don't remember some title like that. And it was really interesting because one of the things he talks about is that like because like there are a lot of people who just see the black woman cast in the show and go, oh, that's woke, and that yeah, that's wrong. Like just because it's there doesn't mean it's woke, but it is also totally a woke thing to do, and we know because they talk about it of saying like, oh, we are putting a black woman in this role because blah, for all the reasons that they give, so it's like, so the steel man is like, yeah, there are absolutely people who get this wrong, sure, but that doesn't mean it isn't a thing. And part of the reason we know it's a thing is because the people doing it tell us so.
There's Troy answering you, Eric, about Mad Max.
Okay, let me go back to
Avalanche Studio. We didn't do that one.
Do you know how to set the if you go to
the
the
other
comments
Avalanche.
on the thing?
Okay.
Oh, you can't see it?
That was.
You have to go to the YouTube.
Yeah.
Here's the Eric Kaufman book, and another person I recommend is Christopher Caldwell. But like they pin that stuff on making racism sacred and all that sorts of stuff. Oh, I remember that meme this week, which I actually shared on a Mormon website, and people liked it, even though it said the F word in it. That one that says, oh gosh, I'll find it.
Those
anyway, what were you going to ask him about, like a game or something like that? Or are you going to ask Troy?
Oh, I wasn't going to ask him. I was reading the comments. No, I just wanted to say congratulations on making such fun video games. Cars 3 was one of my favorites. I just gave it to my nephew. He for his birthday. And then going back to Disney Speedstorm is better than Mario Kart, and Mario Kart is my second religion. So
no way.
Yeah,
a racing game is better than Mario Kart?
Disney Speedstorm is like Mario Kart but better.
I haven't played it enough. I didn't immediately think it was better than Mario Kart, but I haven't played it much.
Well, here's why it's better. Is like you can like it has like it's balanced. It has a balanced mode where everyone's equal, and then it has like a career mode.
You mean a communist mode?
It has a communist mode where like all the racers have the same everything, right? And it's just based on your skill.
No.
And then
that's not a communist mode.
It's
communist
like Rocket League.
Everybody is at exactly the same time, no matter what you do.
Well, Rocket League, like all the DLC is like aesthetic, right? It doesn't boost your stats. It doesn't make your vehicle any better. It just makes you look different, right? Well, Disney Speedstorm has a career mode. Disney Speedstorm has a career mode, and here I am promoting everything. It's free to play, and so if you hate it, then you can blame me for wasting your time.
We're not monetized, and we're not a 501c3, so you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to thank Avalanche Studios for, and then like Warner Brothers.
He's not Avalanche. He's the other guys.
They're the other guys. Okay. Well,
he's
some awesome video games I've played because Flip knows how big of a nerd I am.
But no, I was
if you want to get if you want to get pissed off at communist tactics, then play Mario Kart and be the best at it in the room. Like the amount of bullshit you will get hit, and honestly, it's actually worse if you're in like fourth or third place. That's like
because it'll knock you back. It'll Mr. Beast. Yeah, that's what Mr. Beast does.
If you're good enough, like the blue shells are annoying because they'll hit you, but it's not gonna knock you back enough to get passed up by people.
But I was gonna say,
you
I don't
can
know
overcome
if
blue shell.
We need to get an AI card made for Eric for the video game. Whatever, we got to come up with a name for it. But
AI card. Sorry, I was talking to your friend Troy.
No, you can do that.
AI card for what?
We have cards, not AI cards, but a card.
Oh yeah, caricature.
Like when I talk about booze, he has a card, and if there's anybody for the Portrait Time video game review segment, you're the guy.
I'd be honored. Right now, I downloaded this really fun game called Curse to Golf, and so after a long, stressful day at work, you just want something relaxing that you can have a spot of tea and enjoy Beetlejuice Golf. Like it is
golf. I play a bunch of Mario Golf actually. Like that's the game I go to if I can only like play for like 10 minutes or something.
good, man. That's a classic. Have you played Everybody's Golf in VR?
No, I haven't played any VR. I've only looked in VR like one time.
Oh,
Okay,
VR is fun.
So Mario Golf is probably the best, right? And Everybody's Golf is a close second. And Sony put out a VR version of Everybody's Golf. And so I got on KSL Classifieds and found it for $100 in Layton, like a PS1 VR or PSVR 1, like the Iron Man Vader Immortal Edition. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, so I could play like the classics. The Smith's Marketplace on 90th South and Redwood just did a $200 price drop on the PSVR 2. Everyone.
Whoa.
You want like honestly, I still hawk this the VR. My favorite VR game is still Super Hot. I think I told you guys about that one before. It's you're fighting a bunch of polygon people and time moves when you move.
You did tell me about it.
Yeah. It's one of, it's so much. I play if I put on the VR headset, I play that one and I'll play it until it dies.
One thing that's sad.
This is the link that I shared. The meme of it. You know, we all live in a rock in the middle of a billion trillion stars, and none of this really matters. Right? But don't you dare be fucking racist!
But no, it sucks is because nowadays, Eric, I just have my PC. Like I still got my PS4, but I haven't turned it on. I don't think I've turned my PlayStation on in the calendar year 2024. But
and you have the 4?
No, yeah, and I have a 4.
I have a 4 too. I need a 5 to play some of those games right though.
But I have a PC now, so I'm one of those guys now. So it's like we live on different worlds.
I still got my PS4, but I play my Switch more than anything else. I bought Joey the NES Championship that has 8-player couch co-op.
Whoa.
That is what's up. And
does he have an 80?
He doesn't have an 86-inch TV, but I do have a 120-inch projector in my backyard. We can have a porch time reunion show in the backyard. And
we should play a bunch of Troy's games back there. We should do Troy's games review.
We could do a Switch Sports basketball in the backyard.
And no, like so. These are some. Okay, we got to do some planning. See, this is where we need. I'm going to get all sexist and patriarchal. We need woman. Like Marty. We need a woman, exactly, because we need somebody who can fucking organize.
Yeah, we were in a chat. We did one meetup in like 2 years, and then we're in a chat with Marty for like 3 weeks, and she's like, "Let's organize a barbecue."
Yeah, like because we need to do cigar night. We need to do poker night.
Definitely,
we need to do cigar night when Risto's about.
Yeah.
Texas Hold'em. I remember I was going through a divorce. I want to tell everyone a really fun story about Chris. I was going through a divorce, and he shows up with a 12-pack of diet soda and cigars. And we play Texas Hold'em. We watch UFC. We play Killing Floor 2. Like, you know, and like Chris was there. Flip was there for me.
I remember that night.
Yeah, but we just played Texas Hold'em, and it like helped me through my like a really hard time in my life. And so thank you, Chris. Like, but yeah, we should do a porch time meetup. We can. I'll just send my wife to Wendover, and I'll have all the men over. And
well, here's the thing: like, we have done one. We did one that was live, but like it was cursed because we did a review of that dumb Dan Reynolds gay movie, and then the next day, a gay bar got shot up, and we're like, okay, well, we can't put this out. And so, like, I'm just worried if we do another one.
We could just have a bar. I have a Traeger and a barbecue and a hot tub, but we could just meet up in my backyard. Bring your own puppy dog, and we can play Switch in the backyard because we all know that Switch is the best.
I've never had a Switch.
Place of Smash.
Smash, 8-player Smash, 8 players Luigi Mansion.
When's a new Switch coming? They're gonna drop a new one soon.
They don't have a date yet. I think next year. And don't quote me. I'm not an expert on news or gossip, but I believe it's next year.
I heard it's just gonna basically be the same thing, but way more memory,
more powerful.
More power.
Well, they want to make it as powerful as a PS5.
But they're not gonna like. I mean, Nintendo has a way of switching things up wildly, but I don't think they are this time. It's gonna look larger.
I mean, like, well, the Switch, like, because I was a huge Wii U fan. I thought the Wii U was great. Flip would come over, and I'd take my glasses off and I'd hold the gamepad up against my face, and we'd play Call of Duty Ghosts, and he would have the 51-inch Samsung, and I'd have the gamepad, and I loved the Wii U. But I don't think Nintendo is incredibly smart, and they come up with incredibly great ideas. I think the Switch 2 is just going to be a more powerful Switch.
Troy's a PC master race. My nephew's become a PC master race.
Dude, I like the PC.
And you want to know what?
It's
now
the
we
funnest
can't
to play
chit chat
on.
as much as we used to because now they're in the PC. No, I'm just kidding.
But it's so fucking expensive that I just and I have to work on it and shit like that. I'm with you. I like the Switch. I play that more than anything. I've got a PS5 and I got an Xbox One, but I got a Switch and I play a Switch more than anything. It's awesome.
Switch is the best. And nice is that
I haven't turned on my PS4 in years either, but I would turn on a PS5 for all the games on behind. I am a Dark Souls freak, and I have not played Elden Ring, and I've played all the other Dark Souls all the way through.
I'm a Helldivers freak.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's it. Is like I want a PS5 just for Helldivers too.
Dude,
that's fun stuff.
Yeah, and if you got to get it. You can hop on with me and the kids. My kid and the English kids, we play Helldivers.
You been playing Helldivers, Flip?
Oh my God, yes, it's the best thing. It's such a good game. And it's also, here's the thing, it's really good to play with gamers that are 20 years younger than you because they're really good and they help. It's a team game. And it's
do they cut you out and curse you out for?
No, so Helldivers is a fun game because it's super satirical. It's absolutely brilliant because
awesome.
it's basically Starship Troopers. It's this
I've watched film of it. Yeah.
But the thing is but then the game is also extremely communistic, in that first off, just the way it burns through humanity, but also just that it is extremely teamwork oriented. You cannot get far at all in that game without good teamwork. And to get to the highest stuff, you need 4 guys, you need communication, you just got to be good. And and that's so it's kind of funny. Like I said, I guess it's not all that if you think about it, that's how capitalism works. Because there's this there's this dumb straw man about how it's the Ayn Randian every man for himself bullshit. But no, teamwork is capitalistic for sure, and it makes it work way better.
It wasn't online, but I too got destroyed in Worms by young kids.
Worms is so much fun.
8-year-old Korean kids, right?
the best video games are the player versus environment team up games. My first platinum trophy on PlayStation was Killing Floor 2, and it was during my divorce. And that was just every work night I would just go home and play Killing Floor 2 till I fell asleep. And then the weekends I'd have friends over and I'd spend time with family and friends on the weekends. But work nights, those were the Division is another great player versus environment where you team up. And if you have a really good team, I had Wednesdays off for years and I'd team up with people in New Zealand. And it was amazing, having an excellent team. So yeah, Flip, if you still have a good team of teenagers and early 20-year-olds that know what they're doing, not just me teaming up with unemployed rednecks during the middle of the day. I don't think my laptop could handle Helldivers 2. I'd have to buy a PS5, and I'm hoping this Christmas they'll do a price drop.
I've never played much online, but I'm always kind of crappy at first-person shooters. What are the best non-first-person shooters?
You like third person?
Helldivers is
I like third person.
Yeah, Helldivers.
Sorry, Jared.
Oh, nice.
Well, Chris, I know you like God of War. Are you into third person or are you into
Yeah, I'm into third person.
Okay, so third person.
Hey, baby,
I would recommend The Division. The Division is just a masterpiece. The Division 2 is kind of petering out, but you could probably still find some pretty good quality players to play The Division 2. It's incredibly hard.
Is there any Hades dungeon crawler type stuff?
There's a brand new Ninja Turtles Hades 4-player co-op.
Okay,
and if you buy a Switch, I'll send you my gamer code.
I have a Switch.
You have a Switch? Okay, so we can.
I'm a Zelda and Mario freak. I always get the AAA Zelda and Mario stuff. I don't miss those.
Good man. Yeah, there's a 4-player. It's called Splinter's Fate, and it's Ninja
I
Turtles.
think I saw a
Hades.
video of that, but I didn't know it was out already.
Yeah, Ty, my buddy Ty came over yesterday, and we played a ton of it.
I
we're
played,
actually getting
I
together
played
Sunday. We're getting together
Mayhem.
Sunday.
I already beat the whole Mayhem one, the reboot.
Yeah, Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting together Sunday. We're gonna try and beat it.
Nice.
Because he put like 600 hours into Hades. I put like 200 hours into Hades.
I put a lot into Hades, and I didn't get better at it. Like I was, I got pretty good, and I beat it a few times, and then I got to some point like where I couldn't beat it anymore. It's like this scaled up to a point that I can't get past now, and I don't know what happened. I guess I just didn't do it. Oh, Ghost of Tsushima, that's another game that I need to play on the PS5.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah,
I know Jared played those.
You could play that on PS4. It's
really, you could play Hogwarts, you could play all of them, but I want to play them on like the big thing, the thing that has like
so
all
Hogwarts. I would say definitely PS5, but Ghost of Tsushima, I played it on the PS4 when it came out, and then I replayed it since on the PS5, and it's, I mean,
I wonder
I think
if
it's just good.
I wonder if I would find the Hogwarts more engaging if I had the PS5. Like,
I don't know.
I just kind of dropped off, and then like I got to the point where like I'm so far where I'm like I don't remember the buttons. I'd have to start over. But
so the thing is, I think it's mostly for like Harry Potter fans, right? Because like I grew up.
Well, I like that.
I mean, I grew up on Harry. That was my.
I've watched video of a bunch of Dead by Daylight, Troy. It's so nerdy. Like, you remember those old South Park episodes where they find out the kids are just watching people play video games, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
No. This is a middle child thing. I'm not kidding you. Not middle child. It's any kid but the oldest. I've realized this. All of my friends, Eric, do you have siblings?
I do.
Where do you fit in the siblings?
I'm number 4 out of 6.
So can you watch a kid? Can you watch somebody play a video game?
Yeah. So my nephew is 12, and I watch him play Minecraft and Terraria for hours and hours.
Yeah, I can't. I can't do it.
And you can't do it.
You wouldn't even watch like a YouTube video of like something that you know you're kind of not going to kind of play ever.
No.
Let me explain.
You can't watch it at all.
I wouldn't even consider it. I would watch like a tutorial on how to do this, but like every person I've talked to who is the oldest can't fucking do it because we were always, when you're the oldest, you're the best player in your house because you're just the oldest until you all become adults, and then it equals out. So you, like, your siblings will play for a little. Even if you give them a turn, you're gracious. You can have a turn. They get frustrated and they want you to play it. Because I talked to Morgan's the same way. She's the second kid, and she can watch me play video games, and I'm like, I don't get it, and it's because I'm the oldest. And she's not.
I can watch. There's a game like God of War is one game that I enjoy watching more, if not like as much, if not more, as I do playing.
Well, have you seen something like Little Nightmares? Like, look up Little Nightmares. I mean, if that's not watchable, if you're watching somebody who's good at it, go through it.
My wife and I would share the controller.
I don't know Little Nightmares, but I had a friend. I had a friend that would call me up and say, "Come over and play Silent Hill. I want to watch." Like that's the thing
that's a good game to watch. But Jared, I understand the frustration. I can't watch other people play Tetris. I just like I'm pretty awful at video games, but I'm really good at Tetris. I got number 1 in Tetris 99. And then I got invited to the Tetris Maximus, which is like our Tetris Invictus, which is the number 1 league. It's all number 1 players, and I got number 1 in that. So I'm Tetris Maximus.
Have you followed this kid who blue screened the original?
I did. Yeah, that's a great story. Yeah. No, I'm nothing compared to him, but I am part of Tetris.
Well, who
Maximus, is? Right. Yeah. No, I can't flip my NES controller.
But I did buy God among men.
I did buy the Switch NES.
Have you seen that technique that they use on the thing? Like they tap the controller up on their finger like this or something like that?
Yeah. No, I'm a Tetris 99 fanatic. Like that was like the one game I'm actually like I could go to Solid.
Was that 64?
No, it's Ghetto. So Tetris 99 is on Switch, and it's you against 98 other players. And if you get first place, you get invited to Tetris Invictus. And if you get first place in that, you're considered Tetris Maximus.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't watch other people play Tetris. But like I can watch like my nephew, like I watched him play Tears of the Kingdom from beginning to end. You know, so like it just depends on the game itself.
I can't. There is no game I can watch people
Dude,
play.
you would not. Okay, Troy says he plays as Michael Myers. You would not watch Troy go and slash up a bunch of kids playing as Michael Myers.
Yeah, Jared. Admit it, Jared.
If we were like hanging out as a group and there was some drinks,
I would like to hear
like that, yeah,
Troy.
sure.
I'd like to hear Troy's shit talking. Like he's taking on like a bunch of young kids in the Dead by Daylight game, and he's Mike Myers, and there's all these little kids like, oh, and there's Troy on there, like just the nicest guy ever. Going, okay, kids, I'm here to kill you. I would love it. I'd watch that.
Troy's the
Maniac.
oldest of 6. Me too, Troy.
Best classic on-game line is StarCraft. That's the one that like got all huge of the kids getting expert at, right? I mean, it's
StarCraft is
infinitely,
pretty fun.
Well, do you want to hear my StarCraft story?
Yeah.
So I bought StarCraft 2 when it very first came out, like launch title, went to the like midnight sale with StarCraft 2, and I was in the Platinum League. And then it was released in South Korea. And immediately I was in the Bronze League. Immediately I was in the Bronze League.
It took
And
like
I
half
never
a minute.
I never left the Bronze League. Hey babe, will you give me a glass of water?
Koreans will fucking die for that shit.
We've got another oldest of 7. Can you watch people play or no? That's a Sinatra.
Yeah.
I can like watch. Try to watch a little bit of somebody playing Little Nightmares well, and tell me you don't get mesmerized by the weird creatures and things he's running around, and it's,
right.
It's
I'm so used to getting annoyed that the person's not playing it exactly the way that I would. And I know that's shitty, but like I can't.
You got a youngest of 10. You Mitchell Clark probably has instance of all patience.
He's like, I hate playing games.
I have to wake up in the middle of the night to play the Nintendo.
Like I used to have to sneak out of the house at 2, take a bus to the dark side of town, where I'd finally get the chance to play a little bit of Tetris.
Yeah. Man, back in the day when games were just Nintendo and Super Nintendo, I was pretty good at them. And then when it got just like this different level, like I couldn't keep up anymore. But like I was a good Street Fighter 2 player. I was a good everybody in my whole neighborhood was mesmerized that I beat Zelda 2. You know, like, whoa, we did it. I was a celebrity for a little bit, you know.
Yeah, well, that's a hard game to beat. Like Dragon Warrior, like we were in elementary when we beat
Dragon Warrior.
What's funny is like it was so hard for all of us in the 80s, and then you watch the speedrunners who know the whole game inside out and know all the mathematic and all the like they just breeze through it, and you're just like, you dickhead. Like I swear I spent like a year trying to grind that thing out that you like glitched through.
But they all have faster ways to do it too, because like they can look up online like tricks and things like that we all couldn't look up back then. My friend's kid, he played Super Punch Out, and he beat all of like Super Punch Out in like 2 minutes, and I was like, "What in the living?" That game took me forever, but he looked up online like how to do like all these like super trick secret moves and stuff. But Troy says, my temporary video game celebrity moment was being able to beat Dragon's Lair at the local 7-Eleven on
Whoa, holy.
Wow. That game,
Wow.
Jared, you weren't around when Dragon's Lair came out. You were probably too young, because to all of us, that was almost like, look, that game looks like a movie. Oh my gosh. And we were all mesmerized by it. And I could watch. That was one of the first games I could sit and watch. Dragon's Lair. Although no, that's not true. I could sit and watch games forever.
The shitty part is we loved like going to Walmart and playing the video game demos, you know. But like I swear to God, I caught the tail end of that, because like for the first couple years I was old enough to do that, it was awesome. And then I swear to God, for the next 5 fucking years, it was Pokemon Stadium 2. That was it. That's all they ever had. And I hated that game so much. I'm too like autistic, I guess, for turn-based strategies. I like a few of them now, though.
I'm gonna put just a little bit of Little Nightmares.
Oh,
on
our big brag was anybody who could beat the water temple on Ocarina
Oh,
of Time.
yeah.
That was when I was in like 3rd grade. That was huge.
Did you guys ever for walkthroughs print out little online things that were just completely written walkthroughs?
Oh
And
yeah,
you had to like sit there and read to yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
my friend had a printer, and like we go to GameFAQs.com, and we'd like print out all the moves to Marvel versus Capcom 2 on Dreamcast, and we're like, like punching in the combos.
Yeah, I remember that stuff, but sometimes it was a little hard to follow. Like it's like this little game right here, this Little Monsters, Little Nightmares. I could watch this till the end of time, especially if somebody's going through it quickly.
Whoa.
But wait until the different like humans or weird things that are running around come out.
My wife and I beat the first 2. I don't know if they make a 3rd one, but the Little Nightmares 1 and 2 are like just so good.
It hasn't showed like.
You ever play It Takes Two?
No, I hear it's really good though. I've wanted to.
That's a good husband-wife activity.
Yeah, I've seen it. I got the Xbox Rewards MasterCard or whatever, and they gave me like 3 months of Ultimate Game Pass, and I saw that on there. It's on the wish list.
It's good stuff.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah, so there's all these like freaky humans that around it that you have to dodge your way around that are like 10 times the size of you and stuff. And yeah, and it's not that long of a game either. So that one I just watched it.
It reminds me kind of Stray. Did you ever see that one?
I never played Stray. It looked cute.
So you just play as a cat.
That's it.
Like Goose. I know Stray.
But it's better. It's different than Goose because Goose is more fun. Like Untitled Goose Game is more like funny. Stray is like you're just a cat and you don't quite understand the world. It's like clearly post-apocalyptic and there's robots for some reason and you can like piece it together. You don't really know what's going on, but you're a cat and you run around and you run away from shit and you climb shit. It's fun. I love it.
And it doesn't even really tell you like what you're doing.
It does. Like there's the robots will give you directions and stuff like that, but you can't understand them because you're a cat. It's fucking awesome.
That's Stray.
You ever played Goat Simulator?
Flip, how have you not played Stray with your?
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Goat Simulator is great, but like Stray is seriously. It's like it feels good. It's like a feel good game. It
do you get to create your own kitty, or do you have to play
No, you're that cat.
Just that cat.
Mm-hmm. You climb on stuff.
Flip can't make a bucket version.
No, you can't make bucket. You're an orange cat.
So you just don't even know what's going on here, huh?
Kind of. You actually have. There's a story to the game, and these robots, they want you to do things that they can't do themselves, and you learn what's happening like bit by bit. And there's an objective to the game, but it's yeah.
Looks like fun.
I enjoy the shit out of it.
How much is it cheap?
It depends. Like, do you have PlayStation Online?
No, I'm a PC guy. What am I talking to you for?
Oh,
well, you have PlayStation 4 though.
Flip, do you know about Microsoft Rewards? You can fill out So there's a thing called Microsoft Rewards where you can get PC Ultimate Game Pass, and then you can play these games for free.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it takes a lot. Right now, my goal is a $5 Starbucks gift card, and I'm like 6,000 points away. But yeah,
well, so
it's just Microsoft
I've got like the PlayStation Online stuff, and it's like $75 a year or something like that. And so this game, if I didn't already have it, I could download it for free right now. But this one's awesome because you're like you're a married couple who's about to get a divorce, and you get turned into these dolls, and you have to work together. It's like it's adorable. I fucking love it, and it's fun.
But it's only worth playing if you actually have somebody. You can't.
You would have to
forever alone. Is there a one-player version?
I don't know if you can do it with like an NPC as the other, but you need 2 characters for sure. Because like right there, he's shooting flammable shit, and she's shooting the flame to light it. It's
So
stuff
you didn't
like
get
that.
to like a place where you ended up like almost strangling your wife. You know? No, shoot it this way! Ah!
Well, that's one thing that what's it called? Helldivers is like the super mega intense version of that in a lot of ways, because like there are weapons on Helldivers that are 2-man team weapons that like one person has to
really?
load it. Yeah, it's like it's like like RPG or mortars where like one man can't do it, and so you need to coordinate with one of your people. Like okay. And that and that of course means that you're vulnerable. So the other people have to cover you while you're doing that. Like it is the most intensely teamwork oriented game I've ever played by a long way.
So you guys, you couldn't watch Troy running around as Michael Myers killing a bunch of people
I
who
could.
were actual.
I had a friend that I could watch play Skyrim and Fallout style games forever, but because he was like a performance artist. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, one day he's just like, I'm going to fill this dumpster with limbs. And he spent like 2 hours carefully collecting and arranging all the limbs. Just utter madness. And it was enormously entertaining.
I can watch people who are crazy good at first person shooters a little bit. Maybe not online, but like a friend or something, I could watch them do it.
I had a roommate that was pretty nuts with that stuff. I
remember that guy.
I think my greatest video game achievement might be that I got 100% achievement on the original Red Dead Redemption.
Ooh.
Which was pretty nuts. Like, I had to try.
I have Untitled Goose Game, and I didn't get very far in it. I should try to get farther in it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
It's funny, but like I also kind of got a little bit like okay, but I should just go back and beat it like I always.
You kind of just get the joke, and then you're like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, but there's probably more jokes if I stuck to it longer or something. But well, wait, where's that new Ninja Turtles game? I'll find that one. What's it called, Eric? Ninja Turtles.
Splintered Fate.
Is it only online play?
It's only on Switch, and it's got 4-player local, and then it has so the online play works that I have to send you a friend code, and then you join my room, so you can't play with strangers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you got against strangers?
I got nothing against strangers. I love playing Diablo 4 with strangers. They entertain me.
Wait, do you like Diablo 4? I haven't played it. I heard it was a turd.
I thought they moved to like phone games only.
I like Diablo 4 for what it. Yeah, this is Splintered Fate. I like Diablo 4 for what it is. It's no Diablo 3.
I love these dungeon crawler style games. I love Hades. I still need to get Hades 2 as well. But
if you do 8 players, are there just
early access? Sorry, Jerry.
Well, Troy was bragging about playing
there
it
just
a while.
doubles?
Maybe Troy gets early access to everything. But Troy, how are you playing Hades 2? Sorry, Jared, I cut you off.
Are there just doubles of the turtles if you do 8 players or what?
So it's only 4-player local. 8-player would be Luigi's Mansion, NES Championship.
I thought you were saying that this was 8 players if you had.
On Mutant Mayhem, you can play as April, you can play as Splinter, you can play as
right. So my friend Ty and I, we got to Casey Jones, but we haven't been able to unlock Casey Jones. So there could be an 8-player version one day, but for right now, it's just 4-player.
I'm pretty excited about that. It's still in early development. I think the last Ronin video game they got coming.
That's a Michelangelo or who?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
You Michelangelo doing
Okay, so what does everyone think of Avenger Doomsday?
Of Tony Stark becoming Doomsday?
Yeah, I'm for it. I'm not a hater.
I don't really care. It's hard for me to care about Marvel.
Well, if there's anybody who was any good in any of it, it was always Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. doesn't go wrong too often, you know.
No, I'm sure he'll do a good job.
I'm with it. If they don't, I hope they don't say it's alternate universe, also Tony Stark, and I think they'll do that. I think they have to.
Again,
Do
well, so in the
but I would
comic
rather
books,
than just pretend like it's just a new guy, just like Chris Evans is the new guy.
so in the comic books they switched brains. So what Tony Stark did was he turned Doom Industries into the good guys because their brains were different. And because like the multiverse, like if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel is full dive into the multiverse, and so I think that's what they're gonna do with the Avengers. Is that it's gonna be the whole Loki. I don't know if anyone watched Loki season 1, but with the Sacred Timeline, and that's where Disney's at right now. Is they're just doing the multiverse, whether you like it or not. That's up to you, but I love it.
Well, I think most of those cartoons they kind of have to go to multiverse, but I mean, obviously, any single one of them, they want to blend it all together, and they have all the different reboots. If they ever wanted to blend it together, you kind of have to go with a. I mean, DC's technically multiverse, isn't it? Or do they not really?
Yeah, DC. Well, like the Joker, and the Batman, like those are different universes. Like,
Yeah,
like,
but they actually like have that as canon that that's separate.
It's a different universe.
Right?
No, that's been more of a Marvel thing. With like Spider-Man did the multiverse.
So DC's reboots are just reboots.
Well, yeah, there's that. But like in the actual Marvel, like in the DC like comic universe, there's different universes and stuff like that. There's always like the version. There's Ultraman, who's the evil version of Superman. And he fights the good version of Lex Luthor.
Riso says, "Put the Smurfs in the MCU."
And that's actually, if you want to, like, the good comic shit that I actually haven't gotten tired of yet is DC animated movies are good.
Oh, so good.
I watched a couple. I watched
kind of
one
reversed.
of those.
Marvel animated stuff is kind of shitty. Marvel, like,
except for
cinematic stuff is pretty good.
Or X-Men.
I never watched it.
Oh. Well, okay. DC makes way better animated movies. DC and like, I just love that DC is finally making good movies again. And people have been hating on the Batman because, quote unquote, shiny vampires in it, and it's like, who gives a like? Robert Pattinson's a good actor, and Robert Pattinson proved that he was a good actor in Tenet. And if you haven't seen,
who are the shiny vampires in it?
So Robert Pattinson is Batman. Is the Batman.
Oh,
and,
they were calling him. They were referring to him being.
And
okay.
I think he's an excellent actor. Like I think, like if you ever seen Tenet, which is such a wonderful movie, it's about inverting time and traveling back in time to stop an evil Russian who wants to destroy the world. Sound familiar? But like Robert Pattinson can act, and the Batman was.
Do you know that in Tenet he purposefully tried to copy the mannerisms of Christopher Hitchens?
I do. Like, and Kenneth Branagh's a genius. Like, Kenneth Branagh is like, I don't know. I mean, like, I think Gene Wilder is the funniest human being ever, and Kenneth Branagh is like, he's like Josh Brolin in the sense that he has so much range that he can do anything. Like, there's no limit to what Kenneth Branagh can do.
Yeah, he's like classical actor style guy.
There's one movie that I hated with Kenneth Branagh, and I hated it partially because I expected him to do so much with it.
Much ado about nothing.
No, did he do bad on that one? I thought it was a good one.
Oh, he did excellent on that one.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh.
Man, let me back up and say I think he got studio interference. In fact, I would bet money he got studio interference because instead of it being actual Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, it just went full horror movie, you know. And I was like, oh, come on, I didn't. Kenneth Branagh, you do this to me? Come on, Kenneth Branagh.
Kenny Branagh.
Yeah. So anyway, Tenet, like, and yeah, so I'm excited for the new Joker movie. I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan. I've listened to maybe like 4 songs and I thought they were okay. But as far as an actress goes, I loved her in American Horror Story. I thought she was an amazing vampire.
What's that music one?
They're gonna do a musical of the Joker.
Which I'm cool with. Like,
I imagine it's gonna be like in their heads in some ways, though.
You know, like, and I loved the Joker. Like, and I know
I like
that
movie.
I wish it wasn't attached to the Joker.
2.
Like, it was a good movie, but I think it would have been better if it had nothing to do with DC. Like, it didn't need to be the Joker, is what I'm saying.
Well,
Like,
but like Jared, would you admit that like it's good that DC and Marvel are finally making good movies again?
is Marvel making good movies again?
Deadpool and
You got
Wolverine.
Deadpool, Wolverine coming out.
Like worth
Some-
every penny. Like it's everything I wanted it to be, and everything like the like.
Some people think that movie's kind of just going to be an oasis, though. That they knew that they had that and it was in their bag, but then what?
But Doomsday,
they have to wait for Tony Stark to come back.
Well, and that's not till 2026, May 2026. Which is
so what's
like,
in between? But
what's in
especially you're
between
still
is
kind of
Disney
coming
Plus.
off the.
Well, did you guys watch What If? That was good Marvel animated. So what if was missing an episode? Like I don't know if you caught on to that. The
I
continuity.
didn't watch it. I just had no.
What if it's actually good? Like
I haven't even heard of it.
So
It's
but do
just
you have
like
Disney
different
Plus?
alternative universes, basically.
I saw some cartoon, a Marvel cartoon with Beta Ray Bill. Was that from that?
Yeah. And yep. And so like I'm just happy that they're making good stuff again because like Thor Ragnarok was the
That
peak.
one I watched with Beta Ray Bill was a good single episode. I watched that. Maybe more of them will be good too because I just didn't watch more of them. But
for me, Thor Ragnarok was the peak, and then it all went downhill except for the Ant-Man movies. I love all the Ant-Man movies. I loved Loki season 1. But in between,
I thought Thor Ragnarok was good as well. I thought it was actually one of the funnier movies.
As the Democrat apologist, I also want to be the Star Wars apologist. What do you guys think of all the new like? So
no, we're done.
This is the can of worms. Can of worms before.
Eric, get
this is the can of worms. But is anyone else excited for Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2?
No,
or,
you're doing it
like,
season
Vader?
2?
I understand that like Vader, like
Eric,
episodes 1 through 6.
I'm Star Wars Jewish, and you're pushing on me this. You're pushing on me this Star Wars atheism, whatever. I don't know.
So it's my understanding that episodes 1 through 6 was the Darth Vader story.
Did you watch the
And now we're getting more Darth Vader.
Oh, good.
What are you saying, Chris?
What nobody ever asked for.
It's not good just because it's more Darth Vader.
Let's follow Vader on his vacation to Spain one time.
You know what? I'm just happy Hayden Christensen's getting work.
Yeah.
Because
he got a bad rap from that. Like that.
You got a bad rep because it was a terrible movie.
I'm more worried about the kid that played him. The kid that played him was supposedly went nuts.
I thought that honestly, I feel bad for them because I feel bad for them because I thought Natalie Portman was a terrible actor because all I had seen her in was the Star Wars prequels. And then I see her in other shit and I'm like, oh no, she's actually not bad at all.
The Red Letter Media guys stand by that they think she's always wooden.
I don't think so. She's more wooden in Star Wars.
If she's well cast and has
more wooden in Star Wars than she is.
What's a good Natalie Portman? I sort of liked what's that one?
I like V for Vendetta.
Closer.
Yeah, she mostly like I'm a confused girl.
What's the one recently about like that? Oh gosh, there was like a weird cancer on the world that she had to go in the big bubble of the thing to.
I don't know.
I heard that was terrible. It was like I never wasted my time. I heard it was just really bad science fiction. Annihilation.
I thought the science fiction part of it was the interesting part. It was weird.
I never bothered, so I can't make an opinion. But I liked her. I mean, she's made so many good, excellent movies. But yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for the older Republic TV series.
Oh yeah, she was in Thor. Too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she's in Thor, and she's Natalie Portman, asking me what my favorite Natalie Portman movie is
Garden State.
Who my favorite niece and nephews are. They're just
Garden State, man. Garden State. It was Annihilation. It's obviously Annihilation's good. I'd recommend watching it if you love Natalie Portman. I thought it was perfectly fine.
I think Jackie's her best movie.
Jackie, which one's that?
The Jackie Onassis.
Oh, I haven't even seen that. I didn't even know that existed.
No idea.
Yeah.
What about you? Think it's better than The Professional?
Nothing's better than The Professional.
Okay.
Well, that's Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
So you can't really one up that. So I stand corrected. It's The Professional. But Closer, I mean, has anyone seen Closer? That I think Chris might have.
I did see Closer
a little bit like that.
I saw Closer, Scott.
That's a heavy movie. If you're in a that's the movie I was in.
The guy who played Bill Clinton in the what's his name?
It's Clive Owen.
Clive Owen.
Yeah. Oh
he
man,
plays
that
Bill
movie,
Clinton
that
in
movie,
the.
If you are struggling
True
in a
Crime
relationship,
series.
don't watch Closer. That is like, if you are happy being single, watch Closer.
I usually say Revolutionary Road is the movie for that. If you ever watch Titanic, and then imagine Jack didn't drown, and they stayed married for 10 years, and then 10 years later they got a divorce. That's Revolutionary Road, and you'll get black-pilled pretty dang hard.
They wouldn't have lasted 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. They got in land like, well, that was some fun stuff, man. But I heard somebody like say like you know the alternate world stuff that you're saying with Marvel, like what if? And somebody said, what if Rose was able to go back in time to try to save him, and the whole thing ends up with it all messes up again, and then they realize there's room for two on the thing, and both of the Roses get up on the thing, and he still drowns in the water. That's what would happen if Rose went back in time to try to save it. It would still all sink, and then they'd realize there's room on the door floating for the two of them.
Someone asked me what was my favorite Kurosawa movie, and that is also like picking who's my favorite niece and nephew. Like, I love them all equally, but if I had to pick one, it would be The Hidden Fortress.
Kurosawa, I freaking love, and I hate that. Like lately, I'm usually watching shows while I'm either playing guitar or doing something else. And Kurosawa movies, I got to be zoned in on them because I got to be reading and I got to be watching all the stuff. Like Kurosawa movies, to really watch them, like you got to be on the Kurosawa movie.
Like, did anyone see Silence? It was Martin Scorsese about Portuguese missionaries in feudal Japan.
Oh, I did see that, and it kind of tripped me out. I was a little bit like, this is just a depressing story. These guys go and they be priests there, and they get forcibly converted to the Shinto or whatever it is, and at the end. And, but then maybe they.
What movie is that?
On the inside, it's a Martin Scorsese movie it's got Adam Driver and the dude who played Andrew Garfield, the guy who played the Mormon dude in Under the Banner of Heaven. Yeah, did you watch that?
Loved it.
So you know the gal who was the Mormon liaison for that show is our old friend that we used to like run around with in these podcasting worlds here. But
when was this movie you're talking about?
Under the Banner of Heaven?
No, the one about Portuguese missionaries in Japan.
It's called Silent. Yeah,
I want to say it's 5 or 6 years ago. Probably 5.
It's a wild movie, man, because it's
heavy.
Have you watched Shogun, Jonah?
Yeah, I would not recommend Silence to anyone. That is a heavy, dark.
It's heavy and dark. Like I said, it doesn't go happy at all.
No, it does. It never goes happy. Like the guy who plays is like, no, Christian. Like, he should get like an Academy Award because he's just that whole movie. He's just screaming like a raging psychopath.
It's basically two Catholic guys who go to Japan. It's Japan or China? It's Japan, and they just get forcibly converted. The end.
It's not on Max. I love that. I want to watch this. It sounds great.
It is. But Shogun, you guys should watch Shogun if you want to see a really good. Like some people compare it to Game of Thrones, but it's real. It's on Hulu. The series of it's on Hulu. But if you need a Hulu login, tell me.
Yeah, my oldest brother put me on his like YouTube family plan, so I have YouTube TV and I can watch that now.
Shogun's on YouTube TV.
Yeah, well, YouTube TV, like it's their like Comcast version of streaming.
Oh, gotcha.
So I get FX, which is nice. I'm watching like 4-screen Olympics right now.
I can't find Silence.
Silence.
I just watched it recently, man. It's like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah,
yeah. On Prime or something.
It's not hard to find. But Flip, I do not recommend Silence. Like, there's so much like other movies out there to watch.
Dude, I love. I'd probably like it. I love
Watch Closer. Watch Closer. You like being single. Watch Closer.
I think Flip would like Silence more than he would like Closer.
Those are just so messed up. And as a man who quite enjoys messed up movies, Closer, like There's oh, there it is. Yeah.
I forgot Liam Neeson's in it. He's not
Yeah,
in it
Liam
very
Neeson.
long.
Yeah, it's a man flip. It's 2016. I went and saw it at Sandy Movies 9, and then my wife told me that I could never pick up the next movie for the next 5 years.
So Shogun, in both Shogun and this, I mean, maybe you and Jared would be interested in it, but in both the cases, it's Portuguese Catholics going to Japan.
Yeah, but I wanted them to speak Portuguese, and they didn't.
They didn't do it well.
Which one was that? In
Shogun?
Both of these are Portuguese Catholics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Shogun, the first episode, and it was really good. I just haven't gotten back to it yet.
Like, it would be fun if they'd go through all the trouble of teaching them like medieval Portuguese, but I guess they wouldn't do that.
I think they just kind of do English with an accent and silence. If I remember.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I understand that it's hard for productions to put that level of detail in.
Well,
yeah, Risto, did you watch Silence?
Silence is a complex movie on its own. It didn't need to be more complex. Like, and that gets me with a lot of movies is like they can't even fake a German accent when they did Valkyrie. Like they had like Eddie Izzard's in it with a British accent and he's supposed to be a Nazi. Like what the fuck? Like but yeah, no, Silence.
There's some movies where they take like the time to kind of show them talking in the original and then like do like a swap and show you it switch into English so that you that's usually better than like sticking in an accent for the whole movie just to. Although what was that British show that you talked to me about, Flip, that was the British TV show that used to kind of do all the different versions of people talking?
Allo.
How did they do that?
Like, so it's set in France, and there's French people and Germans and Italians and British. And the way they did it is they just had everybody speak in like an exaggerated farcical accent. But like then there's these wonderful scenes where like there was the lady who was playing like the French resistance lady, and she would be like telling the plan to the French characters. She'd be like, "So what we will do is that this night we will take the hour as the place just in the lame English accent, we will put them in the cart." And then when she switches over to talking in English, she goes, "All right, chaps, here's the plan then," as she talks like Bertie Wooster. And that's just what they would do, just code switch basically. And it was a brilliant, cheap way to like, okay, we know what language everybody's speaking in, but we don't have to do subtitles, and it's obvious. And yeah, it was really simple and brilliant.
Yeah, Troy's right that they Hunt for Red October did the Sean Connery switcheroo. I've seen it in a couple recently where they do that. I think that's usually better. But this is another little bugaboo of mine. You've heard of the Great Vowel Shift, right? The Great Vowel Shift is the concept that maybe north like New Hampshire area English is actually closer to Old English than English is. Yeah. The Great Vowel Shift is in England. They're the ones whose accents, it's true of Spain too. They say Colombian Spanish is more to the original Spanish, but the English accent is the one that shifted. They had the Great Vowel Shift. They were the snooty ones who did it. So what does this mean? It means Kevin Costner was right. Everybody else was wrong.
Whoa. Whoa, you got it. Okay. Now can you explain Halle Berry and X-Men?
It's not nearly as good as Halle Berry and Catwoman.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! That's one that like I watched like Red Letter Media watched. Like I watched that one for like.
Admit it, guys. Swordfish is their best movie.
Well, just because she gets naked in it. I watched it for that myself, and I don't think I remember the rest of the movie at all.
I won't tell Hugh Jackman you said that.
I gotta get out of here. It's late for me.
That reminds me of a John Travolta. And have you heard of this movie John Travolta did of like the handicap guy?
Good night, Jared.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Sergeant watched it. He liked it, but I haven't.
I heard somebody say they have a theory running of it that John Travolta in that is playing his son, his autistic son.
Okay.
Huh. I wouldn't be surprised. What was that movie called?
It was called type in John Travolta handicapped and it just brings up his son. I didn't mean.
No, we're saying John Travolta is handicapped. Computer, come on.
Handicapped movie. It's called
It's like
and it's The Fanatic, and you don't know who it's directed by?
Who?
It's directed by Fred Durst.
No way.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit's making a comeback, everyone.
Is that real?
That's real.
Is that real?
Yeah.
I don't remember that from the RLM because, like, I remember that Red Letter Media liked it.
They
I
did?
remember they liked it, but I don't know that they mentioned that Fred Durst directed it.
Let me pull up
He's
other
done a lot.
Wikipedia if you don't believe me.
I am. I'm looking at his Wikipedia. I didn't know that he made films. He's been making films all this time? The fuck? Really? That's so weird.
He did it for the Nookie.
That's it.
Oh, that's right.
So
Yeah,
you can take the cookie and shove it up your ass.
I watched like 10 seconds of Limp Bizkit on YouTube live, and I immediately was like, "Yep," and then I changed it.
That's all you've ever seen of Limp Bizkit?
Yeah. I'm into different kind of heavy metal.
Oh. My little brother's mission farewell. There was a bunch of drums and guitars in the basement, and he went and did a mission farewell. And all of his little friends who were younger than me and into that stuff, they came over to the house for like the farewell stuff, and they went to the basement and saw that stuff. And just kind of all the kids who couldn't really play stuff, the one song we could play was Limp Bizkit Break Shit. And in the basement of the house of my little brother's mission farewell, there was a bunch of youngsters sitting there playing Break Shit at the top of their lungs.
Nice.
His first feature movie, he got Jesse Eisenberg and John Ritter's kid. This is insane. I had no fucking idea.
What movie was that?
The Education of Charlie Banks. Budget $5 million. Box office 15,000.
Yeah, I remember that movie. That's like a serious movie about like a.
Is it terrible?
I didn't watch the movie. I just remember of it.
The reviews are mostly not great, but like that's kind of amazing. It says budget $5 million, box office 15,000. So that means it lost $5 million.
I think both of them kind of lost stuff.
That's crazy.
Fred Durst films. I wonder if he's going to be allowed to make any more films because of that.
Well, here's the thing, like The Fanatic, it says box office $3,000. This might be a thing though that, like, I don't know, maybe it's one of those things where, well, because in 2019, it makes sense that you premiere the film so that you can have Oscar consideration, and then it's just an internet digital thing.
But you know, they talked about Red Letter Media. John Travolta took out a page of the New York Times to promote himself as Oscar bait for that movie.
Oh, wow.
All right, I gotta wait. My puppy's been waking me up at 5.
Yeah, I gotta bail too.
Yeah, we're running super long.
Thanks for inviting me, Chris. Sorry, I said this show was should be called Tool Time. It was a joke. I just wanted to see if like you would have balls to let on some stranger that was talking shit, and you did. Like you had no idea who I was. The whole time, like you had no idea who I was.
Seer Stoner was a stranger to us too, really.
Yeah, and I just want to see if you guys like were legit, like we're going to like actually have someone on that you weren't Mr. Beast, and that like I was like you had no like Flip had no idea, and I was like texting Flip. I'm like, let me on, like, and he.
I wasn't even looking at my phone.
And so I just like, but anyway, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming
What
on.
name were you using?
We always like to jag into talking to. Well, I mean, I think this is a pretty good episode of like talking to people who are Democrat, left leaning stuff, because we don't have enough of that on here, and it was interesting to hear points of view on it. And then we always love to jag into talking about movies and games and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's more what I'm into. Like I love politics and whatnot, and I'm involved in that. But I can get I've been accused of being verbose when it comes to that. But anyway, yeah, Sunday we're gonna go for Splintered Fate. If you want to come over, Chris, we're doing. I know you like to stay busy, but One of these days,
I'm hyper interested in it because I love that game and all that stuff. It's just the only times that I have my dog because I actually share it in a split.
Right,
But,
I heard about that.
But yeah, hit me up about it for sure.
Well, your puppy can come over too. My puppy is like, so she's Kelpie and she's very good natured, but she likes to play and play.
Oh, my dog can play. I mean, going to the dog park's one of the main things that we go and do. So
all right, well, keep in touch. Get my number from Flip.
All righty. Well,
on.
everybody, thanks for hanging and chilling, and yeah,
we'll see everybody next time.
Laters.
Bloop.